Hello everybody, and welcome to our Modest Guild. So first things first, we got brand new art. This overlay with role-playing combat will be updated next time, but we wanted to make sure that you guys were able to see the brand new art as soon as possible, so we made them big, and some of them might be covering up a little bit of stuff because we got super excited about showing you guys. So next time they'll be a little smaller, so just appreciate the art at this big now, because next time
And if you're in our Discord server, we'll be posting the artwork there as well. So make sure you go ahead and join our Discord to see that exclusive artwork. Dun dun dun!
Dun dun dun!
Yeah, so we want to
Once again, thank you to Rain.
Big thank you to our artist Rain.
Yeah.
She goes by Dawn Dragon Art on Twitter. You can also find her Patreon and website as well. I think is DawnDragonArt.com. Everything is on our links below. Description for both Twitch and YouTube. Always. So make sure if you like this art, make sure you go give her a thumbs up. Mention her, everything. She's an amazing artist, and we love and appreciate it. So, who wants to tell me what happened last time on our Modest Guild?
Oh my
gosh,
it's been like a month.
so
long.
I need to review the PHP and my journal right quick before we.
Last
tag in
time
when you're ready. Will.
Yeah, last time the Mihi got some more big information about some of her family's past. Specifically, she even got to learn the name of her father. So that was pretty big, and also Ariel, their mother, gave her old adventuring gear, hence Mihi's current picture in our mid-season glow-up art change, as we have hit level 10.
Mm-hmm.
She is then sent off to Lord Sebastian, not before Cal telling her that Lord Sebastian is a hugger, so we'll see how that goes. We'll probably hear about the aftermath of that. Because none of us. Yeah, it's very important. I had to write it down. Meanwhile, Aletheus met with Sir Maximilian, the rich guy who is an asshole, and that guy offered him 500,000 gold for Aletheus to be his guard under his employ, which Aletheus turned down. So, and then we, bade him adieu and said, "Get the fuck out of my face," basically, because we hate him so much. It is then that we travel a little bit ways to a river known as Vagan's Stream, and Cal sends off his paladin attire, his greaves, his pauldrons, and some other pieces of his inherited armor down the river. Vivian shows up, or does she? Turns out, not quite. She shows up enough to break...
Morgan Lafey all along.
She turns up to break fucking Heaven's Fang, and Cal, you can take the rest of this if you'd like.
She revealed herself, and before she could start monologuing in typical Cal fashion, he attempted to smite her. She caught his sword, which he tried to headbutt her, and everybody tried to rush to his rescue.
F's in chat for Heaven's Fang.
F's in the chat for Heaven's Fang. Long may she reign. We ran. We were. I think she. My notes get really sporadic. It's just a really big sad face.
Yeah, I mean, it mostly goes with her, paralyzing us, and then she kind of leaves you be as we kind of get away from the river.
I remember holding Cal on my shoulders while he was, rolling, and I was, trying to juke her, and she was like, really?
Yeah. And then I know Cal told us the story of Avalon and the sisters.
Okay, that's good.
And I'm able to animate object the pieces, the remaining largest shards of Heaven's Fang, to get some of the pieces back. Caffrail does a tarot reading for Cal, and a lot of them are very on the nose for what is currently going on. we take a long rest.
Cal
And
has a dream,
yeah, Cal has a dream.
hearing a cry for help.
Yep.
A faint sense that reminded him of his connection to Ravine.
Mm-hmm. And then the last thing that happened in the session was we spotted a seemingly out of nowhere little hut run by an all too familiar woman,
Madam Z.
a madam of magics, if you will, Madam Zeragai, the one that Mihi and Kafriel had bought divination objects from in the past. Well, bought, you
We
gave
didn't
them
buy
free.
them.
Yeah. So we had sat down for a meal with her, Aletheus being extra paranoid of her since she is the creature, a hag, but he does not like people calling people hags because her and her mother had been called that when they were burned at the stake. However, most of the meal is cordial. We're bad house guests, guys. We continue to be bad house guests. But when Mihi asks if we can repay her, if there's any way we can repay her, she asks only for our friendship and asks us our names. Some of us do give names, some of us do not. But she does give something to Cal in order to, quote unquote, help him along with his journeys, which is a small pearl that he is to crush up and drink, which he does immediately. Like right then and there, drinks it, and she says that it will help him when the time comes. Nothing really else happens. He doesn't feel different after drinking the crushed pearl concoction. And yeah, that's we left her shop, and the hut disappeared.
Insert TARDIS noises.
As it do.
As it do.
All right.
As it.
So you guys, like I said, just noticed that the tent is gone. Standing there in the morning, road ahead of you.
I like her.
All in all, a pretty typical start to a day for us. Sans
Well, Cal, if you have any kind of indigestion or some kind of magic burst through your chest, please let us know. Not sure what that pearl was. I wish I could have identified it before you drank it, but that's neither here nor there.
I'm quite fond of eating mysterious things that could potentially be magical, so I support his decision.
I drank a water elemental before. I feel like this is...
Oh, that's right.
Miss Lord Direct.
Water elemental.
Lord
slime.
Hydraxis Dioxin the second.
Yep.
Yes.
Well, he's always with us in spirit, and this bottle
True.
of water that I use to cast tidal.
How sentimental of you.
A little snowflake.
Oh. Hope it's not a dragon again, right, guys? That was a joke!
Damn it, Grandpa, you did it again.
Well, last time it was a squirrel.
Let's
Well,
bring up that.
Can you... Sorry, what'd you say, Aletheus?
I was merely saying, let's not bring up that time with the squirrel dragon. Let's be off. I want to get as far from here as possible.
I will start attaching keys and Old Dahlia Prime to the wagon so we can head out for the day.
By the time you finish hooking everybody up, like piece of burden up, and everyone starts getting into the carriage. It looks like a very faint snow. It doesn't seem to be that heavy. It doesn't non-exist. Kind of just a light snowing, kind of here and there.
Like dusting?
Yeah, basic. brisk
I will-
36
Spike.
degrees.
Can I ride in the cart?
Despite
I
the
will-
snow, Olympius is going to be on the front.
Me, he's gonna be
Do
in
you
the
want-
back, snuggled up
Do you
in a
want to
blanket.
drive? I will drive to
I'm
split the
tired.
mammals and the reptilians up. I will put on my winter jacket and take the reins.
Begin to go. Move it forward. It's nice. Again, it's cold, but eyes are
You
not like a depressing gray. Kind of like that feeling you get, you know. You kind of like the like a winter kind of neutral.
Cozy.
Cafriel's eyes.
Sure.
Not as pretty.
Aw.
Aw.
Ah.
barf.
Uh,
Like a cozy winter day. Oh man. Can I make hot
After
chocolate?
Ooh.
you can if you want to.
you do have that saucepan.
I don't think the splendid saucepan. I mean, it can help me make it, but it doesn't. It can't like do it for me.
You have
After
chocolate.
a
Do I what?
You have chocolate.
I have a chef's kit and chef's tools, which do include the ingredients for basic meals and stuff. And I have been buying fancier foods that I haven't really used explicitly yet.
Sure, yeah. I'd say you have a nice collection of chocolates that you could use, use it for desserts and other stuff. But you have a good selection of like dark chocolate, milk chocolate, even have some white chocolate too in there.
Ooh, this is a
Ooh.
perfect time to introduce it then. I got another cantrip, so I picked up Prestidigitation, and I'm going to use Prestidigitation to heat up my saucepan.
I was gonna say, are you just gonna pour some water and make it taste like hot chocolate?
No, I'm using Prestidigitation to heat up the pan to make hot chocolate for
Ooh.
everybody.
After a little while,
Oh
everyone-
man, I got a 27 on my cooking skills check.
So so after like a good maybe 5 minutes, because a lot of time is spent getting the pan hot enough, putting in the chocolate and some cream in there as well, and getting it all nice. Eventually, you guys smell the scent of chocolate. Especially you guys in the front, it does towards you.
Ooh.
She'll come up to the front first with 2 cups. Hand one to Cal. I made you something.
Thank you. What is it smells really good.
Just drink it. It'll warm you up. My mother used to make this for me on nights and like this.
Cal, take a drink. It's very sweet. I was not expecting that. I thought it was coffee. This is not coffee.
No, you should know my tastes by now.
I should.
Well, enjoy.
Thank
And
you.
she'll leave, and as she leaves, there's one sitting on the seat beside Oliphius. But she doesn't say, like, oh, here you go, Oliphius.
Yeah.
She's being tsundere. Don't look into it.
No,
Um,
I got it.
And then she'll pour a cup for Grandpa and Cafriel and one for herself and just kind of sit in the back, huddled under a bunch of blankets.
Oh, this is wonderful. Thank you, Mihi. In fact, I know exactly what I can do with this.
Same.
Oh, you're
He looks kind of strangely to Gabrielle. Oh, yeah.
Just pulls out like a flask and
Spike.
I will hold the mug of hot chocolate and I will set it down next to my alms box and open the shutter on it to let the light in even more, and I will begin to cast Commune, staring deeply into my hot chocolate. I'm using my focus, obviously, to cast it, but The hot chocolate is for flavor.
You guys suddenly feel and all of a sudden half of the carriage is bitten down on the side where only Grandpa's sitting on that side.
Whoa! Wow!
Just eats
The
it.
accuracy.
And then goes and eats Dolly and Prime for fun, and then
No! She did nothing wrong.
she has guilt by association.
Oh no.
God.
Malduin refuses to commune with you. Because it's fun.
Turns out Malduin hates puns. Him and the god of
It's
puns, you had a
burning
rivalry.
hatred for them, one might say.
When Mihi notices Caffriel spike her hot chocolate, she's, "Can I try some of that? My mother would always do that to hers, and I never asked. I never tried it."
Capriel's like, do you want me to do it, or do you want to do it yourself?
Can I just try yours? Just
Oh, yeah. And she hesitates for a moment, and then she, like, hands it over.
Here, you can have some of my non-spiked one as an exchange if you...
She has a
Spikes it. You can have this not spiked one. Yep.
Sleight of hand to spike.
So, your mom would do that to hers, too?
Mm-hmm. She said it was just the adult version.
She's not wrong.
It has a funny aftertaste. I do not think I like it.
Yeah, the aftertaste is different depending on what you use. And a lot of these bottles aren't labeled. They're just...
Oh, that's fair. She'll hand it back. Take hers back.
Alcohol,
but
any alcohol she can find.
Yeah, she just, like, took a lot of bottles of fine alcohol and didn't really care what they were.
I'd like to imagine it's like a super really nice wine. That's like a white
Ew.
wine.
I mean, I've heard of chocolate wines, but this is ridiculous.
It's pretty strong. Like, you feel extra warmth in your chest.
I was gonna say,
I mean.
Mihi leans back and her cheeks are a little redder than they were before. It's also important to note that Mihi, you know, she's the ice heritage tiefling, and she's talked about not really feeling the cold, but she looks like she's all huddled under blankets and stuff, and she's got the flush of alcohol. Because you remember, she's lightweight from all of the times that we got drunk during the last dragon incident. Why is it always during snowstorms that we get horribly drunk?
That's how you do it.
Yeah,
Let's
it's
be
a
fair,
pretty good...
you guys get horribly drunk.
I mean, for a while...
Alcohol.
Yeah, I was about to say, for a while you couldn't.
Yeah, that's right. Well, puns aside, I still would like to cast Commune.
I'm sorry.
Alright.
Go for it.
Alright, so I get 3 questions, correct? And they have to be yes or no? Okay. So yeah, he will focus in, trying to commune with the power that is Malduin. And the first question I'll ask, I'll say, hope you are listening, Malduin. Any answers would be very welcome. The first, will the pearl that Cal drank cause any ill effects? He didn't let me identify it. I'm concerned.
And it's only yes or no.
Yeah.
There's no maybes.
I think it's yes or no. I don't know if there's like a... Yeah, it says yes or no.
Damn, there's no like degree. Okay, so it's
Mm.
either-
Oh, no, sorry. It says you might receive unclear as an answer if the question pertains to information that either lies beyond their knowledge or in a case where a one-word answer could be misleading or contrary to their interests. And you might offer a short phrase as an answer instead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um.
So it's kind of up to your interpretation.
Okay. So, as you're concentrating on this question, you feel, this warmth begin to surround you. That of, like, warmth of, like, hearth goes around you. You begin to ignore the outside cold, the outside environment. Feel one, God. And finish asking this question. You gain the feeling that Alduin is unsure, only in the fact that he doesn't believe that it's going to be a drastic bad thing. It could have some ill side effects, but nothing too drastic having to within this pearl.
Okay. I will take a sip of the warm hot cocoa as the warmth is already flowing through me through this, and go on to my second question. Is this Morgan Lafey related in any way to the creeping horror and death that chases Caphriel?
After you ask this question, you feel this calming warmth within you. Gather this.
Okay. And my final question, Malduin, is I've been scrying on Caphriel's father a few times, and I want to know, is he safe where he is heading?
That warmth that you felt begins to diminish a little bit. Grow slightly cold.
Uh-oh.
Gather this to know.
And I'll down the rest of the hot chocolate. Caphriel! As I kind of blink back. No, I'm in the carriage with you, with the back with you guys.
Okay.
I was just kind of zoned out
Okay.
when I was commuting.
All right.
Which also begs the question, do I speak the words out loud? Like, can everybody else hear it? Or is it something that happens just only between...
It's up to you.
Okay.
To hear it? Sure. If not, then no.
Yeah, in this case, it'll have been out loud.
Caphriel's already right in front of you.
I'll put my
How was
hands
that
just
last
on her
question
cheeks
worded?
and just like a little bit, like a few inches back a little bit. I asked if he was safe where he is headed.
And the answer was no.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Caphriel, I don't know if you could hear all of that.
Only your side.
Oh, okay. Well, I can fill you in. So good news and bad news. Do you have a preference? Also, and he pushes you a little bit further, come 4 inches back.
Mihi will just launch her arms out of the bundle of blankets and grab Caphriel and pull her into the bundle beside her.
Social distancing.
We don't have to worry about COVID in D&D, Alex. I worry about it every other time. Don't bring it into this.
So,
I'm
good
talking
news.
about the plague.
The cow drinking the pearl thing, probably fine. Maybe bad things, but nothing like, nothing bad.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, it's fine. Chad, your good old buddy Chad, not related to Morgan Lafey, so no cross dangers there. Not like a minion of hers or something. So that's information to put in your book.
That means the bad news is...
So your father that we've been keeping an eye on and checking up on, as you heard, I asked if he was going to be okay where he is headed, and well, Malduin seems to think that he will not be safe where he is going. So, do you have means to contact your uncle safely?
Like, launches out of the pile, like, right back in your face.
Catch her face, like her cheeks in my hands. So,
Do you have sending prepared?
let me check my brain. Yes, I do.
He needs to turn around right now.
Do you think he'll believe me? I mean, if I send your father a message, hey, talked with my guard, says that's not safe, he's gonna turn around?
Weirder things have happened.
I mean, I can give it a shot.
I mean,
mind.
could you just tell him that, like, we found out some information and that it's not safe there? Do you even have to say where it came
If
from?
we include something that only I could possibly know and preface the message with that, then he'll know it's from me, even though it's your voice, and then we'll hit him with that.
Okay. I only have limited words here.
No, and that's why it'll sound very jarring.
What do
Oh
you have
boy.
in mind?
There is a myriad of different childhood embarrassments that I could go with.
Ground rules, I'm not calling him daddy, if that's one of the things.
Ew.
Why? What's wrong with Daddy?
Oh me.
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Let me think of a way to word this as shortly as possible. Give me one moment. You can talk yourselves.
Grandpa,
Yes?
can you explain something to me?
Maybe.
What's wrong with the word Daddy?
Can I have some more hot cocoa, Mihi? That was just delicious.
Oh,
Wait,
sure.
Gabrielle holds out her bottle of alcohol. Like her flask.
Could take it. Fill up half the glass with alcohol first.
Warning.
Mihi will give you a
Caught
refill.
somewhere.
Well, down, knock it back.
I'm sorry, Grandpa. It's just that, I never got to know my father, so I just don't understand these things.
I never got to
So-
know my daddy.
Yeah, she'll say it that way. I never
Oh,
got to know
no.
my daddy.
Well,
What is it like to have a daddy?
Mihi, do you know about all the times that our group has argued over the dungeon that is in Caffriel's room?
Oh, the sex dungeon?
Yes, so it's for reasons like the things that are in that dungeon of hers.
But what does that have to do with daddies? I can't do it. I can't. I hurt too much for this to happen.
You know-
Presume that we spend the whole break talking about daddies. And me still confused.
No, go on because I'm writing this sentence.
I can't.
As you guys are having this, as Grandpa is filling his cup with alcohol, the door kind of opens and Cal slides in. I guess I'll be driving most of the day then, and he goes to his rucksack and he empties out most of it, and he finally pulls out a little leather box about maybe a foot by 6 inches and 3 inches deep. There's not like a lock on it, but there's a clasp, and it's nice leather. And then he repacks his rucksack.
What is that?
This was a gift from my father. It just has some keepsakes in it. It's just a set of alchemist tools, and I need something in it. And I was going to ask Oliphius a question.
I didn't know you could do alchemy.
I kind of keep it. I wouldn't say I can do alchemy. I know a little bit. I didn't really pick it up very much. My father said that there was more to life than swinging a sword or riding a horse or working a ranch.
I see. When you mentioned like that it was a thing that your father taught you, like he looks back to Grandpa as if trying to rekindle the old conversation, but then just looks sad and retreats back into her blanket pile.
I hope you all are having fun. And Cal like awkwardly retreats back to the front of the cart.
Stay warm.
Thank you too, citizen. Cal
He does give
sits
you
down.
a look.
Maybe that pearl is doing something to him.
Maybe. Do I look like a citizen? Not even a friend, just a citizen.
I would say maybe villager, not citizen.
No, that's fair. Peasant?
Cal sits down by Olithius and probably not going to be a quick question, but rather a series of questions. Olithius.
Yes.
He undoes it, like opens the box, and you can see that there's like the alchemist supplies in it. Well, Olithius can see that there's alchemy supplies in it, and then kind of at the lid of the box, there's some very nice paper that's like folded up. Olithius would recognize this to be like paper that you would use to write spells on. And he pulls out a piece of the folded paper and like undoes it and hands it to you.
Okay. The piece will read it over.
Yeah, so you read it over and you can tell that it's instructions on how to cast the spell Shield.
So kind of like a scroll, or is it like from a spell book?
Kind of like a scroll, but more of a like how-to tutorial. It doesn't necessarily like as you read the spell, as you read it, you would gather that this wouldn't be consumed if you like cast it. It would be more of like you remember in Avatar, Katara finds the waterbending scroll.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
That's exactly like what this is. Like, there's pictures on how to like draw because it's I believe it's just a semantic component. Let me double check.
I should have it.
It's verbal and semantic, yeah. So there's a drawings on the proper like hand formation to make, as well as like step-by-step instructions to pronounce the word.
Question: is it in Elven or Draconic?
It's in Elven, surprisingly enough.
Okay.
There's a story behind here that maybe... Remember when I got struck by lightning?
Vividly, or at least the after effect of you being
the after effect.
drugged back again.
I saw an old flame, and I chased after her, and then I was struck by lightning. She was trying to learn magic, and she gave me this stuff, thinking it would help me, but I did really have like the due diligence or patience to try it before, and nobody to really teach me. Do you think you can help me, maybe?
I mean, what is your... Are you able to use arcane powers? I know you've been able to use divine.
I thought you could just learn. I mean, there's different types of magic. I thought you could just learn.
No, you need a source of some kind, or at least some form of connection. It's kind of like
I mean,
how
I have my connection to the Hells, maybe.
Oh my god, Olivia, it's not everyone
I-
uses blood for theirs. Some of us use determination.
Strong will and charm.
Well,
Or, you
strong
know,
will.
selling our
Mhm.
souls.
Listen, think it over, and let me know.
I mean, I can try. We kind of had our own test of simple prestidigitation back in Vados to see if you, well, had any form of magical talent, is I guess the
I'm gonna
best
cast
word.
Thaumaturgy and slam the door, uh, the lid shut.
You hear an
Okay,
eep
that's-
from the carriage.
That's me. That's not Ravine.
Okay, yes, you did sever your ties with your goddess today, so
Listen,
try.
either you help me, or I ask Caphriel, and God knows what's going to happen if I do that.
Again, I didn't
But-
say I wouldn't try. I just said I would have a little prep work. Gear out if I can.
Like, 3 of the smartest people I know are inside this carriage right now, so if you can't do it, I'm... Okay, if you need some prep time, I understand. Sorry.
Yeah, Gabriel's 19 int, I forgot that.
So,
But
would I be able to identify if the thaumaturgy came from divine source or if it came from arcane source in any way?
Roll me an Arcana check.
That would be a 22.
So from what you can gather, from what you know of how magic works,
And
It does seem
thaumaturgy
like-
as a spell.
and you also, you do know about the thaumaturgy. You would be able to tell that this wasn't from, God being, mostly because Al recently severed his connection. But also, like, again, you can tell how things work and how things look. Wasn't a fine source of definitely.
Okay. I'll need some time. I get some form of test or idea on getting a grasp of your arcane or just magical.
sounds like work.
Yes.
Well, okay. I just want to know how to cast a spell. Is that clear?
Yes, it is.
Because this sounds a lot like school.
Yes, it is.
And the only part of school that I liked was gym.
You do realize that learning spells takes time and effort.
And you do realize I'm Salutoris Calzarel, right?
Yes, you can't bash your head into something and suddenly learn it.
That's where you're wrong. And I'm gonna hand the reins back to Orpheus. Tomorrow then?
What?
Tomorrow then?
Sure.
That's the spirit, and I will go return the alchemy tools to my rucksack.
I do have a question for you, though.
What's up?
You do realize the price that you've likely paid for whatever it is that you drank.
Yeah.
The wording on it.
Whatever happens, happens.
I'm just saying she was very specific about friendships. Your friendships. And creatures of that kind don't deal in the physical. They can legitimately take your memories, your life, your friendship, as if it was a physical thing to them.
Oh well. Listen.
Well, if something happens and suddenly Caphriel wants you dead,
Wouldn't be the first time.
you know what I mean, though.
Everybody seems to think that I don't know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing.
That's why I'm pretty sure you know what I mean about losing one's
If-
friendship because it is literally stolen from you.
If I gave you my reasons, you would tell me how stupid I am. So what's the point of me telling you my reasons if you're just going to lecture me on
Because I'm concerned.
your moral viewpoints? That would be a first.
Believe it or not, I don't want you all to die or to be at each other's throats.
As I said, that would be a first. This,
When I act with
we just
purpose,
gotta trust each other with this. I trust you. And sometimes that means that you don't necessarily have to understand the other person's actions, you just have to believe in them.
But the problem right now is the fact that your trust can literally be taken away from you. The agreement you have
If
made.
that happens, then you all figure it out when it happens. I'm looking at a group of people that got me back from being a stone statue, Oliphius. If I'm gonna put my life in people's hands, it's going to be you four.
I just want you to be safe and make sure that your decisions don't end up putting one or more of us into an early ground. Early.
I think there's a chance of that every morning, Oliphius.
Which is why I never wanted to.
You left before, you can leave again if you want to.
I'm fully aware.
Listen, I know. Just need you to trust me. Cal takes the reins back and is just kind of quiet.
I'm doing this too.
In the carriage, Caphriel finally has the note that she's composed for Grandpa. You're muted, Will.
All right, Caphriel, what have you got? Mihi, you just sit with that information. Let it mull over for a little bit.
I don't think I want to. I'm disturbed.
She's like, my father will definitely know this is me. And she hands him a note that says, "My first period was during court. I bled on the seat. Our cleric's god says that Cunard is unsafe. Turn back."
I lost count because I had like a moment.
It's
where
It is
20
20 words.
It's 20 words, yeah.
Okay.
Caphriel, a couple things.
Mm-hmm.
First,
Yes.
he knows it's me because it's my spell. That's what the spell does.
But he'll know that even, like, he knows you're in our party, but in case it's someone trying to imitate you, then he'll know that this is from us. Because no one can fake this information. Because they hid that very well. Like, no one in court knew about that.
Sure.
Also, I'm so sorry. That must have been awful. That must have been awful.
Oh, it was fine. It happened about a year after my mother died, so he didn't know how to react, and it was pretty funny.
Second, just pushing aside all of that, you're telling him to turn back, but where he came from is also not safe.
Well, okay, we can rephrase that bit to, okay, so that's 19 words. Turn,
Away.
Find
so
somewhere
let's
else.
see. Yeah, unsafe, that's 18. Find somewhere else. Yeah, let's do
that. All right, here I go, Caphriel. And he summons the little chibi turtle with the little messenger bag, and he just stares at it for a little while before speaking and says, "What's the name of your dad as well?"
Asmodel.
Asmodel, that's it.
And she'll like use the Mask of Many Faces to turn into her dad.
Yeah, and the first part of the message is just a very deep. Hello, Asmodel. My first period was during court. Bled on the seat. Our cleric's god says, I say the name of the city correctly because Will can't actually pronounce that. Is unsafe. Find somewhere else. And he gives a begrudging thumbs up. And it's really unfortunate that this is the color of my drink.
What? Grandpa, why was that so awkward for you to say?
Well, I'm talking to Caphriel's father about things very private to Caphriel and her woman, so...
Well, yeah, but their family... Is this about the daddy thing?
It might be. It might be.
I don't understand. Is that awkward to talk about? Doesn't everyone just talk about it?
No.
Oh, no.
Huh. I mean, I did grow up with only women, so we were all very open about it.
You lucky bitch.
Me is definitely the daughter in that notorious commercial.
What? What notorious commercial?
I'll send you a link.
Okay.
Send it to me too. I can't remember. Anyway, so the opposite the commercial comes back. So the message comes back. And you hear, "There is nowhere else. I can't go anywhere but where I'm going. I trust my cousin, and I confess." That's it. There's two left.
Oh, that bastard.
And he relays that to everybody in the carriage.
Yeah, I saw you remember it just now. It's fine. I'm going to assume that it's just like his colloquialism for it.
What?
So they're not actually cousins, but I'm just
Oh.
assuming that since they're so bro
Well,
with
they're
each
cousins
other,
by marriage now. Well, no, they're brothers.
they're
now.
brothers-in-law.
You're right. I would have said brothers, not cousins. My bad.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just assuming that they're so bro. They're like, my cousin.
You know, they're
I mean,
they're just like, hey,
My
cousin.
Yeah,
I
cousin.
imagine it
Because-
kind of like a Elliewood and Hector situation where they grew up with each other and like stuff a lot. So.
She's going to like. Do you have scrying today?
Let me check as I meditate. Yes, I do. But that will be my last 5th level spell today. But we're mostly just traveling.
Smash
These
cut.
are my yeah. Smash cutter, but he's dead on the ground.
Oh no, I had that.
These are what I like to call my travel spells that I have prepared.
She gonna use her mask to transform into her her uncle, Constantine,
Okay.
and she's like, I don't know what's going on in Cunard, but if you can scry on Constantine, and she like kind of ups and downs, like, then he has to be at least a while out still.
Oh
He
yes,
can't-
he has quite a bit of
Yeah.
travel to go based on where he went and where he's coming from.
Then we can sending him. If Constantine is doing something fishy, or if Constantine has been replaced by a pod person,
Oh what? I
then-
don't understand that reference.
a cult person,
Ah yes.
then this scrying on him should tell us, right?
It depends what he is doing right now.
That's
If
true.
we catch him in the act, but if he's just sitting on the toilet, I mean, I can tell you how that's going.
Yes, that
But-
would be a crappy time to scry on him.
I don't suppose you have anything that Constantine has given you as a gift, something that's ever been in his possession, that would help the spell along as well.
Let me look in my yield inventory. So I do have. So canonically, I don't know if my scroll of pedigree or my signet ring would help. Because the scroll of pedigree, I'm assuming, is like a list of like all my family members and all that.
Basically.
Yeah, it's like a family tree.
Yeah, would that have any link to him, Adam?
Not in the way that Scry is looking for. Scry is looking for.
Hmm.
Okay. Then probably not without like inventing something on the spot, which I don't want to do.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
she shakes her head and she just kind of, she's like, wait a second.
Mm.
And her head swivels to me.
Yes. What?
Your parents, that's your mom's outfit, and she traveled with Constantine.
Yes? Why?
He's probably touched it at some point. Either a pat on the shoulder or a job well done.
Or more.
What does that mean?
Oh,
I think it goes back to the daddy thing we were talking about.
Look, I'm still trying to process that my mother conceived me with a demonic lord from the Nine Hells. I really didn't need this image in my head today.
Cavral's still transformed as this man. Well,
I feel uncomfortable. I need an adult.
I don't know if that would count, but
It wouldn't hurt. Mihi, I'm going to hold onto part of your garment, and if both of you could please scooch over to the side. And Grandpa's going to lay down on his back, looking straight up into the mirror that is at the top of the carriage. Because I'm still one day away from completing my hand mirror. I'll just fold his hands.
As he's sitting there staring up at the mirror, he suddenly is like, does the mirror being on the ceiling and what you were joking about, does that also relate to the daddy thing?
Cross my hands over my chest, place my alms box on my stomach, and I will stare up into the mirror and cast Scry.
Okay.
I've got one day left, and then I've got my hand mirror.
You
and I will,
have,
yes,
you do
on
have
Constantine.
an object that would have a significance towards Constantine.
What?
Boost.
What was that?
Holding onto Mihi's outfit.
Okay.
allows you to gain a little.
Okay, and then I also have the likeness or picture from Caphrael turning into Constantine.
Yep.
And I have secondhand knowledge of the target. So he gets a net -1 to his check for the save.
That's it? He just gets a -1?
Well, because I only have secondhand knowledge, which gives him a +5 to the save.
Okay.
So -6 +5, net
fair.
-1. Yeah.
Alright. Let's see how this goes, ladies.
So I don't think first-hand knowledge, having met the target, counts as having met a disguised self version of him, right? After you actually have interacted with the person.
Yeah. I
I would
does help
guess.
you.
That's what my assumption is, because I have not met the physical person. I've met a illusion, basically.
What kind of saving throw is it again?
Wisdom saving throw. Against my 16, 8 plus proficiency, which is what, +4 now, so that's 12. Yeah, 16.
So, your mind vision begins up into the air before suddenly it stops. Comes right back.
Ah!
no.
I try to get back up, but I'm getting a little stuck in my shell. But as I'm kind of like turning off to the side, back and forth, trying to get some momentum, I just say, no.
Do you want help?
No, stop. No. Constantine, I couldn't make a connection to him, and I flip over and crash into a couple of the iron ingots that are there. Just. Yeah, I may need to try another time tomorrow, but the spell didn't make it through. Not blocking me, but it didn't connect.
Unfortunate.
Indeed. But we can always try again, and maybe next time when we look, it will be actually doing something important that he's doing. You never know.
Hopefully he's not doing anything important right now.
Smash cut away to him like making some evil plans.
Ooh, doing evil things!
Meanwhile, with the Legion of Doom.
Mixing evil potions. Connecting with spirits.
Let me just explain my whole evil bad guy plot aloud to nobody in particular.
Yep.
I sure hope nobody's listening.
Sinkins.
Oh, God.
Oh, and Adam, when it didn't work, it didn't feel like something was blocking me, right? It just feel like
it just didn't. Yeah, nothing was blocking.
Okay.
Like,
okay.
He saved.
Gotcha.
He rolled really high.
Yeah, that's fine. Alrighty.
About halfway through the day, Cal will come in and see if somebody will swap out driving with him.
I'd love to try driving a horse.
Do you want to teach her, Grandpa, or should I?
I can do it.
I
I
think
don't need instructions.
that you'll be just fine. Old Dahlia Prime is the most careful and calm donkey you would ever have as a first attempt at driving the carriage.
Hell yeah! And I
Alicia's come
push Cal
inside.
around, Cal behind me, and I go up to the front.
Alicia's swap.
Okay.
Caffrey's going to attempt to drive the carriage, and I'm going to make sure that she
No, Cal, get in the
Yes.
back. No.
No.
Can
no.
I shut him in the back? Is there like a shutter?
There's not a lock. That's not how this works.
I mean, there's like a door to it. Like there's a door to the front and to the
Nice.
back.
If you think I'm beyond
Are you
climbing
really gonna
outside
split
around
the
the
mammals and the
it-
reptiles, you racist?
That, please don't call me that. And yes, I'm going to.
No,
Yes.
get back there.
Yes.
I want to hang out with
No.
Oliphius.
He doesn't know how to drive the carriage.
Well, that's
neither
why I
do
want to
you.
hang out with him. Go away.
If you crash the,
I'm not going to
I will
crash.
keep her from. I will not allow her to crash.
you don't know how to drive either.
No, but I know how to destroy anything in front of us.
Exactly, we're
It's
fine.
not about destroying what's in front
Can't
of us.
crash if nothing's in front of you.
closing the door
Exactly.
on
I-
Cal.
I cast guidance on Caffriel before she closes the door. Like as she's shifting over to get up onto the seat, I guidance.
What was that?
Oh, just giving her some help. Learning is important, but it's always good to have a little bit of a boost.
Who wants to roll for your guys' fate?
Me!
Okay.
I
roll
want
a D6.
Yeah, she's the one driving.
Am I rolling a D100?
Roll me a D6.
D6? I got a 6.
Nailed it!
Nailed it.
So you sit down and you're like, oh yeah, and then all of a sudden you watch as it looks like some sort of like owl walking. It just kind of stops in the middle of the road as it looks like it's starting to eat some grass that's coming up from in the middle of the road.
Cast fireball at it.
Well, Miki doesn't have to cook dinner tonight because there's
I don't have
burgers.
fireball.
Some good steak right there.
He
I
does a
don't
fireball
have
perfectly to make it
It's not like
medium
right
rare.
in front of you. It's like maybe like a good 40 feet away. So like
Can you do meta magic to shape the spell to make sure the meat is cooked perfectly?
Yeah, if it passes its dex save, it's going to be rare. If it fails its dex save, it's going to be well done.
Oh no.
Could I just use what is it? Mold earth to just like shift the grass just to the side so to lead the cow off of the road?
What is the range of Mold Earth?
Mold earth? 30 feet.
30 feet. It's about 40 feet.
Okay, I wait 12 seconds.
Fair enough. Let's see. Hold on. What is the exact thing of?
Let's see. You choose a portion of dirt or stone that you can see within range and fits within 5-foot cube. You can manipulate it in one of the following ways. If you target an area of loose earth, you can instantaneously excavate it, move it along the ground, and deposit it 5 feet away. Movement doesn't involve enough force to cause damage. You can cause shapes, colors, or both to appear in the dirt or stone, spelling out words, creating images, etc. If the dirt or stone you target is on the ground, you can cause it to become difficult terrain. Alternatively, you can make difficult terrain normal.
Is a cow on the road considered difficult terrain?
I'm not trying to mold earth the cow. I'm trying to mold earth what it's eating so I can move the cow.
So you begin to mold the earth, and you watch as the grass begins to move this little bit of the grass. Move and it scooches over to the edge. And the cow kind of lifts up and looks at it as it's still kind of chewing cud. Doesn't seem to be moving
Does it-
like with any sort of urgency.
I'm sorry?
It doesn't seem to be moving with any sort of urgency.
It's not going to move. We're going to hit a cow. We've.
You can direct the
Flashbacks.
horses away from it, can't you?
It's
I mean,
okay, cow.
can
Don't
she?
have a cow.
Can't you?
How big is the road?
You can't really move that much, unless you want to go off-road a little bit.
I look at Oliphius. What should I do?
I mean, again, I could just blow up the cow.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool. Lightning bolt.
Okay. What kind of saving throw does the cow need to make?
Flex.
Hold on, I didn't look up stats for a cow. Oh, good, it's in
Actually,
Volos. Wonderful. Okay, so it's you
Actually,
said
no, fuck it. I'm just gonna cast polymorph. I'll polymorph it into a bug.
Oh, that's
that's a wisdom
worse.
saving throw, right?
That's
No, it's a charisma
worse.
saving throw, right?
What?
It's a charisma saving throw, right?
It's a wisdom saving throw.
Okay, let's see. You gotta be fucking kidding me.
Did it,
It got
pass?
It got an 18.
Wow.
I mean, fine. I'll use sorcery points to reduce it by 4.
Oh, the embarrassment.
No
cast
one
polymorph.
saw anything.
You cast polymorph on this cow, and it's just like you feel it begin to affect, and just like it's not doing anything, and you're like watching. You can feel the spell begin to fade, and you dump this extra bit of magic into it, and also turns into a bug.
There you go. Road is clear.
Whew. Thanks, Oliphius.
And I don't spontaneously
Aw.
combust.
I would have laughed so hard if you rolled a fireball. Cool, we didn't blow up the cow.
See, this isn't so hard. Driving a cart is fine.
Haven't rolled for it yet.
I don't have murderous intent.
Yeah, I'm very proud of you.
Little do we know, his first thought was lightning bolt, lightning bolt, lightning bolt.
Fireball. Only fireball.
His hand is like, it's like that meme where it's like between two buttons, one says fireball, and the other's like mold earth, and then the next set is like lightning bolt polymorph, and he's like,
But yeah, so the road is clear, and you guys going undisturbed.
so Oliphius, how are things?
Frustrated by the fact that that apparently this party is more than happy to trust anyone.
Only people that seem trustworthy.
Yes, because hags seem trustworthy.
To be fair, like, you have exploded people with magic in the past, and it's very chaotic, and we trust you.
Honestly, I don't know why.
Well, there you go. I mean,
I think
Yes?
I don't know why you're surprised. The group that trusts you, the person who blew up their classmates, or was it a teacher?
It was faculty, not necessarily a
faculty.
teacher. More just
Yeah.
help. And that's the
Still.
nicest term I'm going to use.
Okay. But still, the group that trusts you, who accidentally blew up hell, and also you have shot me with lightning on multiple occasions, and apparently I have a stronger constitution than the other person you shot with lightning, you know, I still trust you. And, you know, she's, you know, not a looker per se, but she's nice, and she gave me some tarot cards, so I don't have a reason to not trust her yet.
Wait, hang on. So, via the description that you just made, does that mean that people who you find pretty are easier to trust?
Oh no, absolutely not.
Because
You learn in court.
specifically brought up their looks.
Well, I mean, yeah, but you were bringing up her looks for, like, why I shouldn't trust her.
No, I was bringing up the fact that she has multiple segmented fingers.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty cool.
A sign of a hag. And the fact
What?
that they use body parts and sometimes children
Meh.
as ingredients.
We don't know that she's done that. I mean, even if she is a hag, I still
mean,
don't
we
have a
do,
reason
though.
to not trust her yet. I'm just saying, I
Granted,
like to evaluate people on a personal basis.
and I'm just saying that the agreement you made could literally mean that one of our friends is now out for blood for us.
I guess that's fair.
And that,
I kind of slept through a lot of school, so I don't
well, then
really... No,
let me
I see what you're saying. You know, it's weird, in my dreams lately, a lot of school that I ignored is coming back to me. So it's slowly, you know, I actually remembered that segment after we got out of there, which is rather unfortunate. But, yeah, no, I see what you mean. But perhaps there's some way to break that. There's always wish.
Okay, you just equated making good ideas with that of a level 9 spell. Something that only the most powerful wizards can do. One is much easier to do than the other.
I don't know. I just think that life is too short to go around not trusting people if they haven't harmed you.
Okay, again, you bring up, you know, not harming people, and then you still say that you trust me.
You? Trust you?
Yes, I have harmed you.
I know, but you were very sorry about it.
Yes.
And you didn't mean to. There's intention, and you did not intend to. And I know that, so it's okay.
Please just don't assume that honeyed words means good intentions to you.
That's also fair.
Because devils literally have a term called silver tongue. As in they will say the nicest things to you to get you to do what they want. I have a spell that literally does that.
Oh yeah, that's true. I have a question then about devils. Miki's mom fell in love with one and had Miki. What do you think about that?
That seems like... I don't know, honestly. I don't know what... He's dead, so... whatever intentions he had kinda ends there.
That's true.
So maybe she was conceived to be some nefarious plan, but said plan stops when, well, sword runs through him. So
I
I
hope
don't
it.
have too much
I-
concern over it.
Yeah. I hope it was more than that, though. I think that, you know, creatures and people and beings can be a bit more multifaceted than just good and evil. And I really hope that he did love her. Like, Mihi's mom, even if, you know,
I
even if
could
he
as
did
well.
have nefarious plots, I hope he loved her.
I'm not saying that I don't think he wouldn't love her.
Hmm.
I'm only jumping to the point where I'm talking from because that was the idea of the rest of the conversation.
Right, that's fair. I think that Mihi's a little hurt because I will admit I live in a bit more of a gray area than both you and she do, but she really does want to see the best in everybody. And that word really, I know that it is a creature. I do, but I think that her feelings are a bit hurt, and she's got some bad memories that are
And
with her.
I get that, but I wasn't calling
I know.
her
I know.
or
I think it hurts her because she trusts Madam Zeragai, and there's no. I guess there's no. Besides, it could be a birth defect. Her hands,
that is quite the birth defect.
it would be. But I think that if you tell Mihi that you're worried for her, and that's why you had your reaction, that it might make her feel better. Because that is why you reacted why you did. You're worried for us.
Yes.
Which means you care! Poke, 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 poke. It's okay, I care about you too.
I'll take your advice under consideration.
I appreciate it. And I have heard what you said about hags. And I am thinking about it, and I am considering the worst. And just in case that happens, I do want to have a plan.
Well, with the agreement that you struck with her, I guess we should be a little bit more on edge to those we call friends. Be that family, be that in our own.
Perhaps we should just call it ourselves workplace acquaintances. Maybe that will fix it. If it is a thing.
I don't think she's that
I don't know. But still, we don't know.
You're not
Arm
wrong.
around Oliphius.
If we get back to basement, anywhere where we have made any form of acquaintance, just saying, don't be surprised if suddenly Cal's mom wants to run us through the blade.
Oh, I kind of expect that of Cal's mother. And, well, of Cal and Cal's. It's a weird relationship those two have.
No, I fully understand that relationship.
Oh, that's fair.
At least in my culture, you tend to you use anyone and everyone top.
She looks at the road ahead to see if there's any more, like, obstacles. Cows.
There's another cow. No, I'm just kidding.
Now there's 2 cows on the road.
Oh
shit, oh shit, oh shit.
One of them has a tiny fly on its back that looks very pissed off.
It's just 2 big Texas Longhorn steers with a fly on the head of one.
Just staring both of you down. No, it seems like everything's going okay. A little snowflake falls and lands.
Can we go someplace warm next time? This is awful.
Well, me did make you cocoa.
She did.
You could ask for more.
Fine. What conclusion are you drawing from this?
I just want to see my friends get along.
Huh.
I'm excited to see what happens next.
Huh.
It means you're talking again. And she, like, slides the door open a little. Go on.
I feel like someone should still be outside while you're driving.
Oh, that's fine.
Cal, if you could come outside while she's driving. We almost
Sounds
hit a
good to
cow.
me.
We did not almost hit a cow. We had it under control the entire time.
I had
The
to
cow-
polymorph a cow.
You
you polymorphed a cow? Why? It's a
It was
cow.
on the road. Thus, it was in danger of being struck.
Mihi Olympius really likes your cocoa. He has something to tell you. Shove.
I'll swap places with Olympius.
Oh, wow, look at the time. Gotta work on that thing I'm working up on the top of the carriage. Oh, go out the back door and climb to the top.
Just for funsies, roll me athletics check.
Oh boy. I give myself guidance before going up there.
If I can help you if you roll a natural 1.
Oh my god, Adam, why would you
Let's see how fast I can
7!
carriage.
Damn it, Adam, why would you do that?
Moments before disaster struck.
Why would you do this?
What do I have to roll to stop the carriage when I hear a thud?
Animal handling.
Hold on,
I would
hold on.
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
you know what? Hold on. Roll the animal handling right now. I want to see how this goes.
Okay.
If you stop immediately, I get pulled underneath the carriage.
All right. So, Grandpa, to get away from this awkward situation, you
yes.
open the
Post
back
haste.
door, and you
I say, Malduin, guide me. Eat shit.
you reach around and you grab the ladder, the ladder that's in, the rung that's inside, attached to the carriage. Grab it, and then you kind of push yourself off and grab the other end. And as you take a step up, your foot catches on a little bit of ice and slips, and your weight pulls your hands, pulls you off, and you go boom, like onto the road. Captain, you hear
Stop the cot.
you hear
Grandpa!
Note to self, craft a ladder for the back door of the carriage.
You stop the horses, well, the horse and the donkey. The
Mihi
carriage
will jump
slowly
out of her
comes-
blanket pile, go and help Grandpa up.
No,
We'll
you're
also
supposed
go
to.
help.
You're supposed. Well, too late.
Here, let me help you up.
It's like the help I've fallen and I can't get up. That's
Grandpa,
the
you know
image.
you aren't
Grandpa,
supposed
like,
to be doing this
straight
without
up.
your life alert.
Yeah.
He's on his back. He can't get up.
How big is my life alert, guys? This is
Well, I think it's time to get a
Well,
different
he
one.
didn't help you with this one, did he?
No, he didn't.
not even a little bit.
Here, Grandpa. I made you this amulet. When you press this button, it'll send him to all of us saying, "Help! I've fallen and I can't get up."
I pushed the amulet away. I don't need this. You can't send me to a home.
Look, if you're gonna keep staying with us on the road, you're going to need something to keep you safe. It's this, or we put you in that nice home we talked about.
Someone's raring for a banishment.
How do you feel, Grandpa?
I'm gonna send you to the timeout dimension.
Yeah, Mihi will help him up. He was a side.
Yeah. You'll
Yes,
get,
the timeout dimension, the 8th circle of hell.
I think that's where my dad was.
Definitely gotta attach a ladder to the back there.
What were you thinking?
Well, gonna be making modifications to this carriage and just wanted to get started on some of that.
But why try to climb up on it when it's moving?
Well, it's not that hard of a maneuver. I just misjudged it a bit.
I mean, clearly.
Gabrielle leans like over to look at the back, and she's like, "I think dementia's setting in. This happened to my grandfather when I was very young."
Look, you just have to be more careful.
Grandpa just taking deep breaths. Not gonna cast Wall of Fire. Not gonna cast Wall of Fire.
You just have to be more careful, okay?
And-
And he will clean him up with prestidigitation.
And out of character. This is why I needed that 5th level spell slot to animate the carriage to buck Caffriel off right now.
Gabrielle like looks over at Cal and like she kind of smugly smiles because she did stop the carriage and it was fine, and she's like, "I can drive the carriage."
Mihi will
Helping the
clean
carriage is
Grandpa
like-
off with the prestidigitation. Like, just be more careful next time, okay?
Yes, I know, and he'll stop off and go to the top of the carriage again. While it's not moving.
Man yells at carriage.
Old man yells at local carriage.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Not gonna lie, I was really hoping that you would roll super low, so that way when you hit it, just the cart starts going speeding up.
Yeah.
Oh
Man
god.
overboard! Man overboard!
Oh my god.
I kind of actually want to make a life alert necklace for him now.
Oh, he will banish it immediately.
I mean, to be fair, it would be cool for everybody in the party to have like a necklace that you could just press a button and be like, "Help, I'm hurt." Mihi would be hitting it a lot. Every time she goes down, "Help, I'm hurt."
Instead of an amulet, hers is like attached to this string, and she can just go woo, woo. Every time she
Use it to
catches
drag
it.
it to the healer.
based on vertical motion.
Either that or it's just like attached to the side of her horn, so when she inevitably just collapses onto the ground, it automatically activates.
Oh god.
Wow. Okay, well.
Yeah, Grandpa gets on top of the carriage,
Yep.
And eventually the carriage begins movement.
Well, that was awkward.
Oh,
we-
Adam.
Adam, we lost
Adam, your
camera.
video.
Yeah,
man.
What happened? Camera.
Your
Your
camera's
video
gone.
now.
Video.
And now we're about to all swap places.
I'm a dungeon master now.
I don't know why he did that.
Video
Mike, I
killed
literally
the
just went,
dungeon
turn on camera.
master.
Gabrielle like slides open the door a little bit, looks at Liffy's, and she's like,
Eyes on the road.
Ask for more cocoa.
Eyes on the road.
He's reading a book.
Cow, cow.
Hands it 2 and 10. Hands it 2 and 10.
What book is Mihi reading?
Oh god, another cow! Me, I'm sorry.
She like looks up from her book. Sorry, what?
No, I said it.
Said what?
I'm sorry that I used a word that you did not like, despite the fact that I'm describing something that did not relate to you.
Slides door open. That's not what we talked about.
Eyes on the road.
Slams shut.
Do you understand why I was upset?
Because it related to bad incidents in your past, yes.
Well, and because you're calling somebody that with zero real hard evidence that she was one. That's the same thing people did with me. That is the same thing people did with my mother. It's not because it's that specific word. It made it worse because it was that specific word. But you're accusing someone of being something based off hunch and what you see with your eyes, and not actual evidence. And that's hurtful and damaging, and can get people killed.
Question, Adam. How high did I roll on that check again? I know I rolled that Arcana check pretty well.
God, I don't remember. That was a month ago.
It's like an 18 at minimum. It was pretty high. Did you freeze, Alex?
Yeah, no, I'm wondering
Processing.
would that equal he had solid evidence?
I mean, Adam, like in description, gave you the solid evidence of her fingers had an extra joint and there was some suspicious stuff in her shop. Like, even if you're 100% certain about that, Mihi doesn't consider that enough evidence to successfully call somebody a hag.
I'm trying to be very, very nice and apologize for something that you think I didn't have solid evidence for.
Look, Olivius, it's clear you don't actually want to apologize and you don't
I
actually
am
feel like
trying
it, so...
to because I want you to be safe.
Safe?
Yes, safe.
What do you mean?
As in, I care about the decisions that you make, and about you all putting yourself in danger.
I didn't think you actually did care. You talk so much about just either leaving or, looking out for yourself only, that began to think that you didn't care what mattered to the rest of us or what happened. If we all dropped dead, you would just pick up the pieces and move on.
I mean, eventually, if something were to happen in such a way, we would have to do as such, but that's not what we're talking about. Don't want anything bad happen. And I had what I thought to be solid evidence. At least enough evidence that the agreement you were making was a bad.
I can understand how if you really did think she was something particularly dangerous, you would want to keep us from entangling ourselves with that person. So I do understand that. I want you to be careful with accusing people when you don't have real enough evidence. There were people in town who thought that they had enough evidence against my mother and I that we were just as dangerous. just as convinced that we were hags. And that can lead to innocent people getting hurt. I think it's much better to judge somebody off of actions than appearances. And she's done nothing but be nice and helpful to us. Now I'm not stupid. I know the stories about hags offering nothing but good fortune and gifts, all for a price. But if that payment comes due, then the payment will be commensurate for what we got. And if I'm going to look around and at everybody who gives me anything, be suspicious that they're going to want to take something else back in return, then you'd never have any friends.
It's hard. I don't know what all I can say. Rectify the feeling. Or to
We're diagnosing some audio issues right now, guys. If you could be just patient with us, we're trying to figure this out.
Yeah, this may have to do with when your video went out. Do you know which mic Discord is using? I think it may have switched mics on you.
Nope. Discord is using that.
Because there's like a lot of like tick 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 as well.
Do we just want to go to break?
Soon.
It's
Yeah,
almost
so we're
that time
gonna
anyway.
break right
Yeah.
now instead.
Yeah, let's just go to break screen and fix it.
All right, so we'll be back about 15 minutes from break. Don't quit. Love all of you.
Love you guys. Hello, everybody.
Welcome back. All we had to do was me leave the Discord chat and come back, so... Yeah. Alright. So, where do we leave off?
I'm gonna be real. All that I could remember was the feedback, so I have no clue what I said as Mihi. I think I just rambled.
You were saying that essentially friendship being a give and take, or nice people doing nice things.
Let's just go more with she doesn't want you. She doesn't want you judging someone just based off appearances.
Well, yeah, like the last thing I remember you saying was like, I didn't know that you cared. I didn't know that you wanted me to be safe. Yeah, stuff like that. You could just pick up and leave, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, echo, 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 echo.
Just want you to be aware of your decision. The fact that just because someone is nice to you, as you said, not naive enough, or you're not naive, that nice people can have ill intentions.
And I know what hags are. You forget, I spent most of my life growing up with story and fairy tales just like what hags feature in, so I'm well aware.
Those stories are... The warnings they give about them are well-intended. The fact that they could take essentially metaphysical objects as actual currency is concerning.
Right. But I'm not going to go around suspecting any old woman who has a deformity of the fingers and a penchant for darker and mysterious items as a hag. If at such a time she decides to pull a reverse deal on us, if she decides to collect a debt that is due, it's at that point that I will make a judgment about her or act as best I can. But I'm going to presume good intentions until shown otherwise. Because without that, that's just a world that I don't want to live in.
But at that point, you've already fallen.
I know. She puts her hand on her chest where that, new hole in, like, the fabric of, like, the outfit shows that kind of half-moon scar. They carry a lot of scars and pain from the travels that we've done. But I don't regret them still. Sometimes we have to get hurt to move forward with the people we care about. But being willing to accept that hurt, the potential of that hurt, and still reaching out to another person and choosing to give them the power to hurt me rather than rejecting them outright based on a suspicion. That's what I want to do. Does that make sense?
Makes sense. But know that I'm trying to do my best to keep all of us safe.
And I know that you will act as you best see fit. I just ask that you don't criticize my decisions.
I only ask that you consider my words then. Try to...
I always do. Thank you for the apologies.
We're getting ready to stop the...
Take a seat. Yeah. doesn't have anything more to say.
Grandpa, what are you doing up on the roof?
At the moment, since I don't have my channel videos, I'm basically just trying to, I don't know if there's a check I can do, just try to think of, dimensions and stuff in order to, create an attachment for an eventual small ballista for the top of the carriage.
Roll me an intelligence check.
Okay. Can I give myself guidance? It should. Let me check. Guidance. Any one ability check.
Yeah, then yeah.
Cool. Intelligent. Guidance. That's not very good. 7. Still a little rattled from falling off the carriage, probably.
You're a little rattled from falling off, and like, just it's cold up there. Like you kind of forgot your jacket, so it's like the worst. Like
This is the worst. Eventually, I'll just scoot on over to the front of the carriage, to where the door is at the front, and I will give Cal and Caffrey a little pat on the head. Pop, pop,
Grandpa.
pop, pop, and I'll jump down to the little
Whoa,
step.
careful! Do you want help?
I'll just glare
Cal's like spots him.
I glare at both of you.
I just...
We're here for
I'll-
you.
I go into the carriage, not like turn away, and I walk away into the carriage.
Have we sending our Underdark contact yet?
I
I don't believe we
don't
have.
think so.
We have not. We
Mickey
should tell him that we are.
Grandpa comes in the carriage. Ooh, Grandpa, I was just thinking.
Yes.
I was just going back through my old journals for what we had done, and I think we want to send to our contact that we're on our way and we're ready to meet him here in a few days.
Does anybody know how long we have until we get there? Based on our current pace?
I am a
believe
horse
6 days.
expert. No! Let me do it.
Yeah, Caffrey will go ahead. Yeah, can we do like an intelligence check or something?
Oh,
Yeah.
horse
Can I-
expert, sure.
Let me roll something, Adam.
Okay, sure. Yeah, roll an intelligence.
Yes. Come on, dice. 10.
I mean, you like just started your travel, so like probably a week.
Like a week.
I'd buy that.
Sounds about right.
At least let him know that we're alive and on our way. Can't hurt.
Sure. All right. I will go ahead and send a message.
The guy's name.
Yes, his name is Igden. Please add him. I send a message to Igden, and I tell him, hello, this is Dragon's Melody. We are on our way to see you, probably a week out. Possibly bad weather.
We'll have 7 words.
That's it, I'm good.
You send that. That's it.
Hope you are well.
How do I turn this damn thing off?
No, for the last time, I don't want your damn life alert.
How do I turn this damn thing and then it cuts off?
Perfect.
So the winged turtle flies off. And after a little bit, the message comes to you. All right. Got some supplies set up already. I'll start getting the perishables ready to go. See you then.
What did he
Alright,
sound like, Grandpa?
He sounded exactly like when we talked to him a
On
few
the
weeks
road.
back.
Did we
He said-
talk to him?
Yes.
Yes, that's how I know who he is, and how he made arrangements
Remember,
to
we
go to
met
the Underdark.
Time blurs together.
We met
Probably
him in the
stop
terrible
making
city that
delivery.
Cal and Oliphius wanted to leave immediately because of their magical handcuffs.
Right. Who was he in the fun district, or was that
Yes.
the man who gave Cal the thing that turned me blonde?
That
Both
wasn't the
of
same person.
Both of them
But
were in the
he-
fun district, though, but not the same person.
The fun district of Brassington.
Yes.
And fun is like the more relaxed place in Brassington. Thank God we have teleportation circle.
Thank goodness
Yes,
we told him
thank
that we
me
weren't going to
indeed.
meet him back at Brassington. I don't think any of us want to go there again anytime soon.
Now, the big unfortunate thing is, are we going to just abandon the wagon? Because we only have 6 seconds with the teleportation circle.
Can we do it around the wagon?
We can make another.
And
I
then
think
we'll.
it creates like I always assumed it created like a vertical hole, kind of like when you use the town scroll in Diablo.
I always imagine.
I'm
like,
totally
the
down to
whole-
try and get the wagon through now in 6 seconds, though. I'm willing to whisk the wagon.
I
to try.
certainly would like to bring the wagon or the carriage along. It's a project
You
of
can
mine
always
and
just
also
give the carriage
very sentimental.
to him and ship it back.
Oh, and actually, the carriage should be fine. I can animate it and have it run through the circle along with us.
Or we could just have someone drive it through.
Or that.
I'm very good at driving. I call over my shoulder.
Eyes on the road, hands at 10 and 2.
I am doing
Keep
this. I'm looking where I'm going and talking.
Multitasking
Like
leads
this.
to accidents. Focus.
You
imagine
lead
both.
to accidents.
That's
I imagine
Depends
Depends on your
can you
definition
roll
of
me
accidents.
A random animal hand.
Your mother calls you an accident.
she does.
I know. I talked with her one-on-one.
Kafro, roll me a random animal handling check, just for funsies.
Yay! Animal handling. I'm not a wisdom caster anymore. I got a 14.
That was the last time, wasn't it? Or no, or
She got a 15 last. No, she got a 16 last time.
16.
okay.
last
So
time.
she is a little distracted from multitasking. Just a little.
So you're like, I'm talking and looking, and like the wagon begins to slowly like.
Capriel? Capriel, you're gonna take us off the road.
Moves back. I am fine. I'm
It's not
great at
you,
this.
Zipper. You're doing very well, yeah.
I can slalom this carriage through imaginary cones. I bet you I could parallel park it too.
She
I
is
just
from the
avoid
East
that at all
Coast of the
costs.
continent.
How would that look with a donkey and a horse?
You're attached donkey to the back. Horse to the front.
Yeah, you have to like reattach them.
So,
Is it getting late?
yeah, I was just
Damn.
gonna say,
Yeah,
how
it's-
much
it's-
longer do we travel for this?
It's getting about time where.
Ugh.
Time to make dinner.
Did you ever let me cook for your mother?
No.
Didn't I say that I was going to cook?
No, I don't remember that.
I bet you I could cook too.
You really have quite the interest in all these new skills. First, driving.
I never learned how to do any of them because all the servants did them for me. And I want to be an independent woman who don't need no servants. Thank you very much.
Well,
Caffrey.
Caffrey, how about you cook tonight's dinner then?
I have a better idea. I
Well,
would love a second pair of hands when I'm helping prepare. We can work together. So then you won't have to do dishes. The boys will do the dishes after we're done. And I can teach you as we cook together, and then one night, once you feel you've got enough practice, then you can take lead, and I'll be your sous chef.
Excuse me, by boys doing the dishes, do you mean just me casting prestidigitation?
I washed dishes for
That's
19
it.
years of my life, and I now have him. He's just gonna cast prestidigitation.
Fine.
I'll allow it.
I did say that because that's how my mother taught me.
I barely remember having a mother, so I'll allow it.
Well, it's okay. I don't remember having a daddy, so you know. She's gonna just keep calling him daddy from here on out. It's canon.
Oh no.
Fair. I can fill you in on having father.
Daddy issues?
I can
You
fill
want
you
to
in
talk
on
about a parent
all-
that doesn't go to war for you? We can talk.
Hey,
I'll fill you in on what having a mother is like if you fill me in on what having a father is like.
it pains me deeply to say this, but I feel like Cal might have a healthier example of a father figure. Not he is one, but that his father might be a better example of what a daddy is.
Olivius is just laughing as he's walking away.
Well, either way, I would be honored to have you help me with cooking every night.
Let's do it! Brings out a scythe. I have sharp objects to cut things.
Great, you'll be in charge of the vegetables.
Yes!
And then she'll teach Caffriel how to do basic food preparation, and then we'll do more later on. But right now, she's just cutting the vegetables.
Question:
Answer.
If Capriel activated, I'm not saying she could do this. I'm just, if she activated her fire right, and cut the
Her crimson
vegetables
right.
with the crimson right, would it grill it? Like, would it cook the vegetables?
Would
cook
burn
the
them.
Vegetables, basically.
It would burn them. They would
I mean,
not
that's
be
more a
edible at
question
all.
for you as the DM.
Yeah.
In real life, it would absolutely not work. But this isn't real life. This is a fantasy setting. So if you want it to be an automatically grilling vegetable cutting scythe, it absolutely can be.
I guess she would have to roll specific rolls to see if it worked that way.
There is a problem with that, though. You activate
Ooh.
your crimson right by cutting yourself, then you'd get blood contaminated in the food. and
No,
that's a
I don't
no-no.
cut myself. The wound's just open.
You could still
Still
drip blood on
bleeding
everything.
while food prepping.
I wear long sleeves.
Do you though?
That doesn't help.
Then it wouldn't drip.
Okay, if you would like to
If I
try,
see,
you
if they
can.
see, I'm not eating that food. If I see that happening, I'm not
It's
risking it.
I hide a lot of things from Cal. It's fine. I would love to have a loaf of bread, which I just like activate Crimson Right and then like slice and toast at the same time.
Mm.
I want to
no,
know what
no,
these
that's-
checks are.
That's too dark. Can we give it more like a 1 or a 2 instead of the 3? And like, you know, there's like a dial on her back that you just turn down to.
How much
You
bleeds
like
out of her
poke
wound
which
to
bleeding
tell-
scar
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
turn the dial like.
So who's gonna be doing watch for the evening? We should probably
I'll take
move this
first
forward.
watch.
Who's up? Yeah,
I'll
go-
take
okay.
second watch.
Oh, who's on third? Third base.
I'll take it, I guess.
But you're cooking dinner. It should clearly be Cal.
What's
I said I'm taking first watch.
Oh, who else?
Me.
Grandpa.
You are Lifius.
Oh,
I'll do it. It's fine.
Olivius can do it. He never does watches.
Just like get
I-
the
Well, he
attack.
makes the dome and also gets distracted and then leaves and the dome falls away.
And Cal goes on
Yeti's attack.
enthusiastic walks.
Cal goes on enthusiastic walks.
So
and-
really, it should
And
be.
we make new friends when I go on.
That's true. Cal
You make
makes
new friends when I go on
when he
enthusiastic
goes
watch.
walks.
I'll
We get
take
attacked by
third.
monsters.
I'll
when
take
I go
third
on
watch. I'll take third watch because you're the chef and I'm the sous chef, so I haven't evolved into full chef yet.
No, I don't think I'll be sleeping well tonight anyway, so please just let me take
Poor
watch.
Claudio.
No reason. Just, you know.
You need
lot
your
on my
rest,
mind.
Mihi. You had a lot.
I just have a
You
lot
had
on
a-
my mind, that's all.
Man, do you all remember
Yeah.
when Mihi used to not sleep? Wasn't that odd? Is she doing that again? Mihi, are you doing that again?
No, I'm not. I'm not, I promise.
Just had a busy. Mihi, you had. Is rough the right word?
Just please let me take the watch.
I'll allow it.
Thank
Can
you.
I?
The word I heard taking
ice
watch.
this with my right.
Hold on.
Chop.
I only rolled
Okay.
a 10 for dinner, so
10.
it's just like
Yeah, one
it's
more
like an
time.
average dinner. I was too busy teaching Capriel.
Alright, so since Cal's on first watch.
Is that really what you had to have us all wait on just so you could type
Yes, it
that?
100% was.
Yep, it was so worth it too.
Besides, Adam, that is literally the point. Okay?
I'm very well aware this doesn't make it less funny to me. Anyway, first watch, Cal. Can you roll
Chat, you're gonna have zero
Time.
context for this for as long as time goes on.
Yeah.
We'll tell you when you're older.
Like to say, before Cal takes his watch, he goes to put on his armor, and like the chest piece, the bottom half of the chest piece, like falls onto the ground. It's really messed up from when Heaven's Fang exploded. Grandpa,
Yes.
and he just holds up the bottom half of the breastplate and points
Oh,
to his unexposed stomach.
oh, what happened to this one?
That's a look. Woo!
Bright shade of green. Well, when Heaven's Fang blew up, it did some damage.
Sorry, go on.
Listen, I'm sorry about the sword. I didn't know that would happen. I should have been more careful.
Well, I do know it is your instinct to swing and smite at the enemy, so it's not like you didn't, you couldn't have seen it
A
coming.
brand. Yeah.
Yes.
Nobody could have seen it. Could have
Ah.
seen that happening.
But I can take care of this tomorrow. Not tonight, though.
I've got the shield. It'll be fine. I just won't leave the hut. Won't go on any walks.
Please don't go on any enthusiastic walks during your watch.
I was going to say Paladin's Honor, but that doesn't fit anymore.
Oh no, you don't have a code. Oh, you're a Cal Unleashed, aren't you?
I'm not sure I like the sound of that.
Attached to nothing. No code.
Attached
no
to you
rules.
guys.
Like a renegade.
Sure. Yeah, I guess. I haven't really thought about it.
Well, yes, I can take care of this for you, though. All jokes aside, I'd be happy to fix
Thank
this.
you.
And hey, maybe we'll get Heaven's Fangs fixed up. Between Olivius and myself, I'm sure we can do something. We have some of the pieces.
Maybe, yeah.
Do you not want the sword back?
Haven't really. A lot has happened between Mihi and myself, and I'm just kind of processing one thing at a time. Heaven's
Fair
Fang is like the least is pretty far down the list.
Sure. That makes sense. I just know
trying
you
to.
always seemed so. Well, let's say you had a expression of joy whenever you would unsheath the weapon and call out its activator phrase. So I just was hoping to be able to help you get some of that joy back to a confusing time that you have right now.
Appreciate that. We'll just have to see what happens, I guess. I don't know. Like I said, losing it's just been a lot.
Yeah, of course.
Tricked by the evil sister of my goddess. His father's a devil. We're going to the Underdark. There's war.
Yeah,
My family, an orc that I killed is living with my mother, so I can't go home anymore. It's like, what am I to do?
When you put all those things back to back, it's sure. Maybe the quiet of the Underdark will do us good.
Maybe.
I can't say I've ever been. Just a system of tunnels, right? That can't be that bad.
Out of character, Adam. Do I know? Nah, Cal wouldn't know anything.
Cal wouldn't
know anything. I don't know. Oliphius gets that weird, because I'm paranoid, right? Well, I'm not paranoid. I'm just... What's the word? I don't know. Oliphius gets that, weird on edge whenever we mention going down there, so... But I don't know. We'll handle ourselves. Follow-up question. Speaking of Heaven's Fang.
Yes.
You know that thing you did to Caffriel's scythe where she was having a problem with that golem, right? And you were able to make it so she could hurt it.
Oh, yes.
Spell?
It's only temporary, though. Unfortunately, it's not a permanent thing, but it is something that I can always do. A gift granted by Malduin.
Oliphius was trying to explain, the difference between your and my old magic to his magic.
Yes.
Right? And I'm not, it's not really my shtick. But you're smart and I'm stubborn, so between the two of us, maybe we can figure out a way for me to do that on my own.
Oh. I think Oliphius, really, Caffrel, Mihi, all of them. I hate to say it, but my magic is more akin to what you had. I didn't exactly read up books or learn how to do it. It's something that was granted and bestowed upon me. I can
still do the same things that they do.
In a way, but I can't cast lightning out of my hand like Oliphius. I cannot fire inky bats like Mihi or.
But you can make a weapon better than it was, and that's what I need.
If I can try to teach you it, I will, but I can't give you any guarantees, I suppose. But if I can confer some kind of knowledge, I'm always willing to, of course.
I just need a chance to try. You can sleep on it. Don't want to pressure you into anything.
Yes, and there's always the daggers that we have in case you need a magical weapon. But be careful with those. Those are also currency.
Yeah. They are. Are you doing okay?
Well, still a bit embarrassed from falling out of the carriage, especially since I invoked my god's name when doing so, but
that happens to everybody. I wouldn't worry about it.
Other than that, your altercation at the river is definitely something that is weighing on me. Especially because it's, if you were so easily fooled by this creature that's claimed to be a god. Who says that other beings can't do that as well? I try not to lose any faith in the god that I believe and have faith in. But an event like that, it makes you think.
Yeah, it's hard to not just feel part of a family squabble right now instead of, a cosmic deity. But we don't have faith. We don't have faith or hope. Do we have anything? I guess.
I mean, I think we have as much hope as we can find. Hard to say. I mean, there's just so many things that are out of our control at the moment. We just have to take each step as it comes.
One foot in front of the other.
Exactly.
We're here for you, Grandpa.
Oh, and we're here for you as well, Cal. I think it's you who needs the most support right now. I mean, you ask how I am doing, but you've just had a faith and a personal and all things wrapped up crisis all in one.
When I was younger, I used to, if I was getting upset or if I was having a bad day, I would go pick flowers for my mother, tidy up around my father's office, find a pretty stone for Miara, just something little, right? And being there for somebody else and making somebody else's day better always made me feel better, so I guess that's all that I can try to do right now.
Speaking of this Yara woman,
Miara.
I believe Miara, I remember you mentioning you saw her in a vision? You've never asked me
to
right before that. Yes, you've never asked me to scry or send a message to her like I have for Mihi or for Caphriel or for Olivius. Is there a reason?
Because fuck her, that's why.
Oh. I don't mean to pry, but that's quite the aggressive
stance. She was supposed to... Listen, we grew up on tales of my mother and father adventuring. We were supposed to do that together, and when I left, she was supposed to meet me at dawn, and she never showed.
Oh, to leave on your initial adventure.
Yeah. And I know she's alive, I know her parents are dead, I saw her running from something, and to be honest, I don't really care.
Oh, well, I'm sorry for that. I don't know exactly what path you would have been on if she had gone with you, but as selfish as it may seem, I guess I'm glad she didn't. You might not have joined up with us.
Maybe. But that's in the past. Listen, you should get some sleep. I'm sure your hip's hurting or something after that fall.
Alright, the old jokes need to stop. I'm a ripe 300 plus. Yes, I'm old. I know I am old.
Good night, Grandpa.
Good night, Cal. I'll bop him with the breastplate a little bit.
Aha! Still tender. I will roll my perception check for my watch. That's an 8.
So you're sitting there, kind of contemplating everything that's happened. Days. Kind of close to the time when your watch ends, you realize that you've not been paying it even the slightest bit. And then you kind of like look around and nothing seems different.
Boston's still there.
Is it implied
still there.
that Olivius made the hut? So I know I didn't like say it explicitly, but
Oh,
I-
I mean,
just-
at this point, I assume more. I will tell you when I don't make it.
okay.
Cart is still there, horse is still there, Grandpa, Oliphius, Caphriel, Mihi. No creepy monsters. Caphriel is taking second watch.
I'm taking second watch.
You're taking second watch.
Yeah.
We'll gently shake Grandpa awake. Everything seems to be in order.
Oh,
Nothing crazy.
Good. Didn't make any more friends.
I didn't leave the hut.
Wonderful. And I'll go ahead and take my watch.
I will
Bring out
remove,
my pipe of smoke monsters. And, basically going over the memories of the past few days and making little smoke figures of like Vivine, and then turning into Morgan Lafey and the breaking of Heaven's Fang in little smoke figures as I take my watch. Okay, and I've got my robe of eyes as well. I'll give myself guidance. Hey, first good roll of the day. 23.
So you're sitting there kind of focused and item lets you see in all directions. Your compatriots all seems like me having trouble doing what you okay, and then you hear a noise. Like little noise coming from side of the
Oh god, it's coming from inside the carriage. I will slowly get to my feet, kind of low to the ground, kind of looking around. All the eyes just flick in different directions all at once. Searching out into the ethereal plane and visibility and to the darkness. And how far away is the dome from the carriage?
The dome is probably a good maybe like 30 feet away. It's not.
Okay. I will very quickly just cast Detect Magic also.
Yeah, you don't sense magic. That wasn't.
I will head to the back door of the carriage.
Are you doing so quietly?
I'm gonna try. So stealth, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Do I have disadvantage on stealth now, or no? Is Darkstone built in such a way that I don't have the disadvantage? Because it doesn't say, but it is splint mail, technically.
I'm pretty sure it would.
Okay.
So you don't have.
Okay.
Yeah, stealth disadvantage.
Oh, it does? Maybe I missed that. I will give myself guidance as I'm stealthing. So pretty good. 12 plus 4, so 16?
Going to rely on Malduine. It's a little more than normal, it's because that you're kind of having the worries a little bit. So you focus a little more on Malduine. Pours his energy to help you in this. You pick up very quietly the back of the carriage. Inside you see this small person. At the other end of the carriage looks digging through.
I'm going to. Who's gonna have watch after me? Is it Kafriel? Mihi.
I think it's Mihi.
Okay. I will very quietly cast sending to Mihi and say, someone's in the carriage, I'm investigating it. Come over. You're muted, Tara.
Fuck. Mihi bolts upright, breathing very, very heavy, sweating a little bit. Looks around for a minute, and then sees you over by the carriage. And, like, really groggily gets up and tries to make her way over. Yes, just like that.
Yeah.
Roll me a stealth. So you like start walking over and like kind of breathe in a little bit, kind of wake yourself up. And Grandpa, you see inside the little person stops. Do it, and they hear slowly turn to the other end of the carriage.
When I see that they see me, can I cast Hold Person? Yeah.
Just checking a thing real quick. Do not
Okay.
mind me. Yes, you can.
Okay. So Hold Person is DC Wisdom save DC 16.
Wisdom. So you see, like, they see you, and it looks like they're gonna take a step, and you quickly cast Hold Person, and they stop.
And I go, Mihi! And I throw open the door. Oops, I just hit the thing. I throw open the carriage door and I point at the person. Someone digging through our belongings. They're held for now, but it won't last very long.
I look inside the carriage and see.
So you guys go inside and you see, it looks like this little green goblin with rags for clothing and for long ears. His eyes are the iris. The iris is a red color. He's got sharp teeth all over. His face is like flat and a little wide, and he's like looking up at all of you, like the both of you, like.
Aw, poor thing. He must be freezing.
Well, he's also stealing things. Can we stop him from stealing things and then worry about his cold? Maybe get him a blanket?
I'm just trying to say that's probably why he was.
If we should wrap him very tightly in a blanket.
That sounds like a great idea.
Have you seen different wrap type foods? Things wrapped in like a flat bread? Let's wrap him really tight in a sort of goblin rito of sorts.
I haven't ever made food like that before or heard of it, but that sounds interesting. Like a sandwich, but all over.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. She'll take a blanket and she'll,
very tight, and Grandpa will help very tightly wrap it around this goblin.
Alright. Roll me like sleight of hand to see how tight you can get this.
I'll give guidance and I will assist Mihi in this.
Okay.
Ooh, nice. Add the D4.
I also didn't do advantage.
Oh, okay, well, you got 18 plus, nice, 22.
22 for Goblin Wrap.
He is going to be such a cozy burrito, Goblin Edition.
Alright, so you wrap this goblin up like a burrito, and like he's just wrap him up all tight, and like He's still like kind of looking at all of you because he can't move, he can't do anything. He's like,
It's okay. It's okay. We will not hurt you.
Everything is going. Oh, I can't speak Goblin.
I can.
Everything is going to be okay.
I cast tongues.
okay.
Don't worry. Everything is going to be okay. We're not going to hurt you. What is your name? Why can't he?
He's
Well,
paralyzed.
Yeah.
Oh, Grandpa, why didn't you take the spell off of him?
Well, I just wanted to make sure, and I will end the spell.
Okay, so you end the spell. And he looks at both of you, still kind of breathing really heavily, and like he's panicking a little bit.
Okay, let's try this again. Hello. You are not in any danger. We're just trying to make sure our stuff is okay. My name is Mihi. This is Grandpa. What is
Hello,
your
do you
name?
speak Common?
Don't hurt me, please.
Oh,
Is that-
wait, yeah,
Was that in Goblin or was that
He
in
speaks
Common?
it in common.
Oh,
okay.
well.
No
Oh,
waste of
perfect.
spell.
Eh,
Alright.
eh.
We are not going to hurt you. We just do not want you taking our things. But what were you doing in here?
Eating things. I need things.
You
Okay.
need things?
What kind of
what
things do you need?
Food. Foods.
Well, I'm sure we have some spare things that we could give you if you asked for it. I'd be happy to cook you up something really quick if you would like it.
Not gonna hurt me.
No. I promise.
I can't move.
Yeah, because you're in a blanket. That is a spare one of mine. You could keep it if you wanted.
Are
If you needed to
Are you
keep
by
it.
yourself here, or do you have many people that you're bringing food to as well? I can create a lot of food tomorrow for you all, but it only lasts about a day.
I am by myself.
I can make him food then, Grandpa. Don't worry.
Sure.
Okay, you just sit tight there, and she'll, jump out of the carriage, scoop up a bunch of snow in her Battle Chef Splendid saucepan, go back in, and basically cook it with prestidigitation.
What's your name, little fella?
Plug.
I'm not awake.
Some
Okay.
force behind Grandpa's mind just says, "I will protect you with my life."
Me
Gabrielle
immediately melt into
starts
like
to
sparkly
dream.
eyes and like anime bubbles and like I'm gonna protect him forever.
Well, Splug, let's get you settled and get you warmed up here and some food. That way you don't have to take anything. Because I will tell you, most groups you would have gotten into the carriage of would probably have very quickly resorted to separating your head from your body. But
That is not a
You're-
threat. That is just an
no, yes,
information.
you're in luck. Mihi and I are both wanting to help, not to hurt you.
Wires up.
Here, the soup is ready. If you would like to have some, it should fill you up for a whole day.
I can't move my arms.
Yeah, this is the problem. I'll feed you. She'll just awkwardly, like,
I'll hold
put it-
Splug like a baby. Mihi will feed him.
When this goblin broke into this carriage, he did not expect to end up playing house
To get
with a mommy and a daddy feeding him.
To give context, I guess, to the chat.
Chat.
Plug is a character that Alex made for a Pathfinder game for everybody.
Yeah, an
And also,
NPC
he
specifically.
was, he was an
Recurring
NPC
NPC.
from a module that I ran, and he just became a companion to the party.
We love him.
It's the meme of like, look, a completely not important random NPC who happens to have a cute name, and the party's like, we're gonna love
We
them
love
and
him.
cherish them
And cherish
forever.
him forever. Yeah, we adopted Splug, and then Splug was accidentally killed, but before he was killed, he was bitten by a vampire, and then 2 or 3 years later, he came back as an undead goblin, still just as adorable, and he's still alive, and we protect at all costs.
So that was a different version of Splug than I had, because I had Splug in a different game of Alex's, who we tried to keep alive through 2 sessions, and then he fell into a spike pit and died.
Hey, that's how he died for us too, I think.
No, he didn't die in the one that you guys in the 4E one.
Or
that
did
you
we
guys
actually
were-
keep him around?
Yeah. So
Okay,
the thing
good.
that you guys got frightened by him because someone did insight, and I did a random song to do like, oh, this is the intentions that you get from him. First one was essentially bake a cake from Lazy Town. Not exactly that song, but essentially that. And then someone did another insight, and I rolled random and got one winged angel.
Oh yeah, we were like, holy
was
god,
good.
this thing's amazing.
That was
Yeah,
with
we love
Manos de los Manos.
The
Yeah.
point is, we love
Yeah.
Splug.
That's
Well,
why everyone's freaking out about this. I just felt like that needed some
Yeah.
context. Anyway,
This
Well-
is news content.
Well,
so
Splug, I would like to
you stay
first.
holding him like a baby and you're beating him.
I would like to first take back anything you've taken, if that's all right. And I would like to give you 50 gold pieces so you can buy your own food and clothing and be on your way.
Or would you like to, if you want companionship, our caravan is traveling.
Yes.
Perfect.
Wake me up.
Traveling near a town. If you would like to, safety in numbers, happy to feed you and keep you warm inside the carriage. If you would
You
like
can
to come
cuddle with
us.
me, sleep with me. I
Or
want to
me.
hold him.
I want to hold them.
We can all 3 sleep together. Cuddle pile, cuddle puddle.
Cuddle puddle.
I wasn't. I mean, to go in order of things that happened. Or things that are saying. I didn't steal anything yet. Stop me before I was able to. So. I have
Insight
nothing.
check.
Okay, I'll go for it.
I'll do it too.
Just want to make sure.
23.
Not that I don't trust Spluggy Splug, but
I trust him with my life.
yeah, I want to make sure he didn't steal one of our 1,000 iron ingots.
Joke's on him, I've used most of those, turning them into silver.
Mihi. Plug wouldn't hurt a fly.
Of course he
He
wouldn't.
wouldn't steal anything.
Of course not.
Grandpa, it seems like he's lying a little bit. Like, it's not like he's like, I'm lying entirely. It's more like,
Yeah. Is there a bag he dropped anywhere around, or?
Yeah, it would have been right next to him when you guys picked him up.
Yeah. So I'll just grab the bag and dump it out.
Alright, you dump it out, and like a single spool of thread falls out.
Now that's just sad. And I put 50 gold in it.
Thanks. And no, I don't really want companionship.
Okay, that is fine. It is okay to be alone if you feel like you can handle it.
If you feel like you can handle it, you small, tiny goblin that is defenseless against the world.
I just don't want to get beaten.
Well, now you can get yourself an inn stay with some money.
I mean, we also happen to be quite good at defending ourselves, and while you're in our company,
You know, if you want a job, we know a lord in a city a little bit far away from
love
here.
you.
And you absolutely love everyone of all shapes and sizes.
It was 6 days across the ocean and 3 weeks.
We just sent the giant there, actually.
He could work under Melody in our house. We could hire him as another house servant. And then we could be with Splug forever.
I like that. So, you're welcome to come with us, Splug, or we could help you set up somewhere else.
I wasn't worried about other people beating you guys, and then I was worried about you guys.
We promise we will not beat you.
That's what the last one.
oh, you poor thing. And she'll like hold him by his cheeks and like, I'm so sorry.
Hey, don't
You
belittle this.
literally have this man tied up in a blanket. Why would he want to work for you? Why does he think he...
You know what? Here, let's show the good faith. I'll pull him out of the blanket, Rito.
Alright, so you unwrap him. He still holds the blanket close because
Yeah, no, by all means. And she'll like, help him wrap himself up in it in a non-constrictive way, but a warm way. And the gold is yours to keep, and here, drink your soup whenever you want to. Yeah, you can sleep in here. I need to stay up for the rest of the night anyway. I'll watch over you.
Well, my work here is done, Mihi. I think you've got this covered.
I do.
And I will go ahead and head to sleep and create food and water for tomorrow.
I will take my watch with Splug.
Okay.
It'll make sure the door is open enough that I can see out and make sure nothing's gonna get in the tiny hut or anything.
Alright, roll me a perception.
But she also appears very just distant. She's very distracted. There's a lot that happened in the past couple days for her. She's a lot on her mind. She woke up with a nightmare. Now Splug. She's not doing hot in the focusing department. Also, can I check the diplomat's pouch to see if I got an answer?
Yeah, sure. You open it, and you...
Okay. Huh? Oh, yes, I'm fine. How is the soup? Good.
I've had like that.
Sorry, say that again?
I haven't had food like that in a long while.
I make that and even better things for my friends every day and night. It's what I like to do. I like to make sure they have good food and something warm made by a friend. Oh, come here. She'll pat right next to her. Friends take a lot of work. They're something you have to give a little bit of yourself to make happen, and you have to let yourself be willing to get hurt in order to make them. But they're absolutely worth it. Every single one of these people is... She she hovers on her gaze at Oliphius. Good people.
Give too much.
I don't think you can give too much. I think it's more just you give it to the wrong people. I'm so sorry.
Why you being... Not many people are nice.
Well, I mean, look at me. I'm not exactly the type of person appearance-wise people are very nice to anyway. I know what it's like to have somebody judge you just based off how you look, and not based off who you are. I've been there, and so I make sure I never do it myself. I'd like if it wasn't actually that nice and it was just something that everybody did, but that is not the world we live in. So until then, all I can do is try and change the world in my own way, one person at a time. And I really did mean what I said. You are welcome to come with us if you would like, even if it's just as far as the next town. I'm sure everyone would love you. You also seem nice for what it's worth. How did you get here, Splug?
Kicked out of my.
Why would they
I
do
was
that?
leader for a while. Wanted to eat.
Mm. What did you not want them to eat?
But it was really big.
So you were just worried about them. Didn't want them to get hurt.
Yeah. Powerful.
That's smart. You were just looking out for them. And they turned their back on you. I'm sorry, you didn't deserve that.
They had a leader. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. That's not true, though. People make mistakes. All the time. Doesn't mean they're any less right or any less wrong or any less suited to be a leader.
I need to travel. Yeah.
Okay. I get that. I understand. Well, but just remember, if you need a friend, I'll be around.
Find you again?
Yes, have you heard of a place called Basemount? It's a little far away. I don't know if there's a good way that you can contact me without magic. Do you have any magic?
Yes. Pulls out. Like to be a little like dagger. Like think like, you know how like in Disney's Peter Pan, like his little dagger is like fucking like as tiny as shit in his hands. It's basically that, but goblin size at the same time. So it's like,
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So
a toothpick.
even smaller.
Yeah. Yeah, like basically a pocket knife.
Is it magical?
I mean, it's magic in that it.
I suppose that is a kind of magic in its own way. Well, you can always find a way to contact me at Basemount, but if you can't get there... Oh, God, I don't know. Maybe just... If you find an inn around here and leave a message just saying Splug is looking for me, then I can check whenever I'm in the area, but I don't think I'm going to be around here for too long. I'm sorry. If I had another diplomat's pouch, I'd give you one, but I don't. I only have one. If you find one, just think of me, and it should go directly to me. Okay, she'll give him like a little pat on the head. Get some rest now. Splug, I'm watching over you.
Lays down and kind of like brings the blanket up on, kind of like. After a few minutes, you eventually. Drifts off.
Anything else happen on my watch?
You know,
I'd like to get up an hour early in order to channel divinity
Oh,
twice.
that's not done yet.
Oh shit! I thought he was last watch.
Yeah, I was
He is
last
the last
watch.
watch.
Oh, more things. Okay, never mind. Go on. Oh god.
Oh my god, is that Cheez-Its? I'm so jealous. I want crunchy squares.
Yeah.
As wake up in the morning and you're in a bed. Guess more hot now. Get up. You're in a familiar place. Your time to get up and work. Forge. Just like you have been in the past. It'll be a good day. Feel it. You get a lot of good work done.
Does anything else happen, or am I?
You're just sitting there. You gotta get up and start getting ready.
Caphrael, Mihi, Cal, Polypheus.
Hear a knock on the door.
Come in.
Door opens and inside you steps inside. You see this Q1 Team Allison, looking more humanoid, but with two arms, like arms that look like.
Mm-hmm.
He walks in. He goes, "All right, Albateatris. Ready to put in some good work today?"
Yes. What is today's project?
The special project. You once we told the higher up some of your special techniques you're able to do. He said he wanted you to start working on those weapons right away.
Yes. Is he here?
No, he's checking out on a couple of the nearby towns. Just like normal.
Of course. I'd like to see the forge.
Of course. Starts motioning you. He brings you past the other forge, the normal forge you've been working on the past few months, before you told everyone kind of your idea on how to make weapons a little more effective. He brings you over to what looks like to be a bigger forge. It looks like instead of fire, there's lava on the inside. This allows for a greater heat, so that way you can metal a lot quicker and kind of have more control. Determine how close the wall. There's also what looks like to be some better types of materials other than just iron. There looks like to be steel. A couple looks like to be a couple ingots of mithril that you can work on as well. Overall, this is a step up. This is definitely a step up from what you've been working.
I'd like to just kind of look around. Is there anybody else around, or is the workshop empty?
There appears to be a few people there. They seem like I brought together some of our best blacksmiths to work under you. I know you've had a lot of years training, so your expertise can really sink into their mind, help them out. You see a few pure bloods. There's also another Allison, but this humanoid top, and then the snake half.
Yes, of course. Sorry, I feel very out of it at the moment.
Do you need anything kind of help?
No, and this should be perfectly fine. In fact, you can send these two to go gather more supplies.
Do you need more than this?
Yes, of course.
All right. He, like snaps and points to two of them and points them out. Well, he can't really snap because he's got a.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that. Like, what does it sound for a snake mouth to snap?
He whistles that. I can't actually whistle, but he whistles and kind of.
Is he a whistler that sticks his fingers in his mouth?
Keys. Keys.
Wait.
Ow.
If he's snapping, is it like when someone like pops with their tongue, just with the snake tongue? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so he whistles and motions his head, and the two pure bloods walk out of the room. Alright, well, I'll leave you to it, unless there's anything else you need.
Nope, no, that should be fine. Thank you.
Perfect. And he walks out.
I want to rush over to any kind of reflective-ish metal, if there's any around, to see my reflection, to see what I look like.
You rush over. There's water. You need to
Oh yeah, water.
flush
Yeah.
the stuff. So you look in, and you look a lot younger. You look like you're about 150 years old. It's only been a few months since you've arrived here.
Yeah. And I want to take a moment to see if I can, like, connect with Melody, and if I can, I'll try to cast detect magic.
You attempt to cast some sort of magic, and nothing happens.
And I give myself a couple slaps on the face to try to wake myself up. This is in fact.
So you slap yourself a couple times, and you're still there. The Malison kind of slows up and goes, Albadeatrus, are you alright?
Yes, fine. I just, it's a rough morning. I think I'm going to take a walk before I begin work today.
Right, is there anything I should do to help prep the area before you come back?
Just make sure my tools are in order.
Right, I will do that. You know how long it'll take for you to come back?
No, it shouldn't be long. Just going to leave out the main entrance and fresh air, you see.
Right, well, when you get back.
Of course. And here I will, like, fast walk, but out the entrance.
So you you walk out. Is there anywhere specifically you're looking to go?
Mostly just to kind of, like, leave the Grand Workshop and trying to get out to maybe one of the dunes, like the crest's kind of near.
So you begin walking out. A few people kind of notice you walking, but you've been happily working here for the past few months. They don't really expect you to. It's not like they don't expect you to run or anything. See, kind of worried looks on your face, on their face, but nothing that too concerning.
And as I'm kind of walking out the entrance, is there anything in particular that I see of, like, things that they're working on, or anything kind of out of the ordinary, I guess?
No, you see people working on some of the battle carriages that they've been working on, some standard weaponry work and armor and stuff like that as you're leaving the my brain died. As you're leaving the Grand Workshop. And you begin to walk, and you hear sounds to be angry yelling coming from outside of the whole underground.
I'll head towards the commotion.
So you start heading that way, and the yelling begins to become a little more clear. Hear that the voice of that Allison that came into your led you over. You hear him go. I knew you would try to leave. I knew it. Trying to get out and warn everyone. That goes against directly what we're trying to do. Really? Not even gonna speak? Typical. Eventually you walk out and you see that Malison's a few purebloods look like to be surrounding someone very familiar to you. Pointing looks to be spears at her.
I will kind of like push people away and try to get in between them and her.
So you walk up and you go to push these UNTs away, and your hand phases right through them.
Kind of like shock again. I'll try to like push my hand at all into any of them.
And goes right through them.
What is all this? Leave her alone. I'll see if my voice can reach them.
Yell that, and no one seems to acknowledge your existence.
I try my best to cast Guiding Bolt at the main one.
You go to cast Guiding Bolt, and the bolt, you feel the energy begin to go around your arm, and then as the energy shoots out, it dissipates.
Try it again.
As you try again, the energy seems to get weak. Keep trying over and over and over again. Shoot Guiding Bolt at the Malison, the purebloods, everyone. You can't seem to hit anything, and you hear the Malison go, "I told you. Did this again. Punished." You watch as the purebloods grab her and force her to the ground, putting her on her back so she can't get up. And you watch as one of the purebloods who wasn't doing that comes around, and you watch as he pulls out this long sword. Shines with what looks to be bluish, kind of like glint to it, not like a magical glow, but like from where the sun is hitting it. I'm going to make sure you can't run away again. And he lifts the sword up, and the pureblood
No! And I try to like, as much as I can, try to like jump in front of it with my shell back towards the sword, even though expecting,
the sword goes right through you and hacks right into her leg. She screams out in pain as another strike, as he hacks and hacks and hacks until one leg is gone, and then he does it to the other. Hacks, and both her legs have been completely hacked off.
Fuck. Just bawling my eyes out, I attempt in any way to try to heal these wounds. Like, begging to Malduine, please, I didn't know that this all... We were separated long ago, and this is all my fault. Please, Malduine, if you've been guiding me, please help her.
You watch as wounds on her leg close. Allison kind of flabbergasted at what's going on, but the begin to close and passes out. Shock. No longer bleeding.
I try once more to kind of, like, almost kind of weakly, but I try to cast Guiding Bolt again at the one that hacked off her legs.
No energy.
And my arm just kind of weakly just falls back to the ground, kind of just on all fours, just crying.
Kneel there. Crying. Hear eventually footsteps. Sand. As as and
Kind of very slowly get to my feet, kind of dusting off my legs, and I turn. Kind of worried what I'm going to see, so it's kind of like a slow turn.
Turn, and standing behind you looks like to be Morph. A beard as long as the ground, that glow like the sun. Not as bright. Looks like to be like what the surface of the sun looks like on his see blacksmith's apron on. One hand he holds a hammer, and his eyes are looked down at you, that of a father.
All these years you've been with me, and why couldn't you do anything to protect her? She was twice the smith I will ever be, and all she wanted was freedom. You have more power than anything that I've ever seen, Melduine. Why protect me rather than her?
Looks at you. He nods his head.
She didn't seem so protected that Yuan Ti dismembered her. You've given me the strength to create flames the size of long walls, and to bring down fire and magic upon my foes. These you could have stopped.
Up. A powerful all the more. Gods.
I'm sorry. I just can't believe all this time I didn't know that. I always worried that she had suffered more than I had, and I guess it hurts to see it, and to know that I was oblivious at the time. I know what I know now, but at the time, I simply worked the forges and was in a place where the outside world meant nothing to me. I see how many years that I wasted. especially at my age that I am now.
Awesome.
I know. I know. I worry that this is the first group of people I've let get close to me since so long ago. I worry that I've prevented pain before, and I've been striving to do that, to make changes, to bring this change upon. I worry I will not always be strong enough to protect them all.
Change. When you are there, friends will.
I wish I had all of your wisdom. I'm sure it would serve them all well.
Or more wise.
Doesn't help when I fall out the back of a carriage.
Everyone.
Yes. I just hope I can balance those scales of fewer mistakes than the ones I've made already.
There's only
I can't stand the sight of this place. Please.
watch as Alduin begins to fade as he's putting up. As you watch him go, eventually your eyes meet. Darkness overcome your. Wake up. Hour earlier than ever. Now morning.
I will head out of the dome, taking kind of the long way around so I'm not near the back of the carriage where he would be. And I go over to Old Dahlia Prime and just kind of lead her over to, like, if there's a tree nearby, just to kind of, stand and just, even though it doesn't do anything, like, brush her. I mean, I know she's a, like, fey creature that doesn't age or anything or need cleaning or anything, but I still kind of just go through them. The motions that are kind of habit.
He seems to enjoy it.
I move different parts of, like, the armor that's on her. Make sure to polish the unicorn horn that she has. Make sure to get those wings nice and fluffed.
And Dahlia Prime seems to be enjoying every single bit of it.
Yep, that's how I'll spend my morning instead of doing what I was planning to do.
Eventually, everyone else begins to rise.
Man, I wonder if anything weird happened during the night. No, I bet you it was super normal.
I mean,
I
to
wonder
be
where
fair,
Mihi is. I'm hungry.
Goblin fireball.
Mickey is like curled up with Splug. She absolutely with a
Mihi!
with a
Wanders
perception
back-
score of 5 and a nightmare earlier in the night. She's absolutely asleep with Splug.
Wanders out of the hut. Mihi!
She's like in the back of the carriage, like
Looks in the carriage.
Splug's like still wrapped up in a blanket, like right there, and she's kind of like arm resting on him.
Oh my goodness. What is this?
What? Oh, I guess I dozed off.
Who's that?
Sees Caffrey on the other end. Like,
Okay, it's okay. She's a friend too.
It's
Splug.
adorable!
This is Caffriel. Caffriel. This is Splug.
That's the best name I've ever heard in my whole life. Oh.
It was cold last night, so Grandpa and I gave him a blanket to sleep in, and some food, and some money, and he stayed the night with us last night. It's okay, Splug. She's a friend.
hey,
Can I?
I'm sorry, what?
Can I? Olivia's come here!
Oh, I'm not sure that's a good idea.
Okay, what?
Look how cute!
Oliphius, please don't panic. Please don't panic.
hey. And waves a little bit.
Banish!
What kind of saving
I don't
throw
know
is that?
Banish.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a critical saving throw. What am I talking about?
Why is there a goblin in our cart?
I was telling
Found him!
Caffriel, he was poking around camp last night with no food, no clothes, and he was very scared and cold and alone, so we gave him some food, gave him a blanket, and he stayed in the carriage last night.
Caffriel immediately reaches into her pouch, pulls out a bottle of alcohol, and gives it to Splug.
That doesn't seem wise.
What is it?
It's alcohol. She's offering you alcohol.
Like 7
Oh,
in the
yeah.
morning.
No, it's pretty bad, actually.
No, it's very good. It's the good shit.
It will
Like-
make you feel dizzy.
Cautiously
Only if you
reaches
drink too
over.
much. Have you ever had alcohol?
Oh,
Ooh!
no. Caffriel, it's so early. It's
No.
like 2 hours past dawn.
I know. Don't drink it right now. The rule is it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
That's an awful rule.
It's
I
like
heard
really
a bard
unentertaining.
sing it. A bard sang it once. It goes do 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 boop 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 boop. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
And that's when we
I
get DMCA'd.
Splug
And then
cautiously
we get
reaches over.
DMCA.
Splug cautiously reaches over and grabs the alcohol. You watch as he like lifts it up to his mouth and begins to drink a little bit, and then he puts it down. Looks at it. Looks at like everyone.
Wait,
Oh,
Splug,
this is awful.
Splug, no, that's too much. Splug, she'll try to
And-
stop him from drinking so much.
And we
You
turned
push,
him
you push
into
it
an
down, and it's like
alcoholic.
already like more than halfway gone.
Ooh!
You're going to feel really sick here soon.
Thank you, Capriel, for
Especially
making...
since you barely. Well, no, you do have food in your stomach. I fed you last night.
Thank you for making the goblin an alcoholic.
He's doing it socially. He's not doing it to relieve stress.
That's not how that
That's
works.
not how that
This
works.
Splug is going to be a very dark reflection of the other Splug.
No, that is how that works. As long as it's social, it's fine.
Caffrey, that's not how that works.
Well, how does it work?
That's like my mother's
No, Splug,
friends
stop. She'll
being
take
like,
it from him.
Oh, don't
Splug,
worry.
stop.
I'm just drinking the 8th mojito.
Oh well, you're supposed to have you're supposed to have at maximum 3.5 drinks because at the 4th drinks it becomes unacceptable. That's when you're on a binger.
Lot of concerns have
binger.
been raised.
But 3.5 is just a really cocked eyebrow.
7 in the morning is much too early for these very concerning things you're saying. We should probably get on.
There's a moment where Cal walks up and puts his hand on Splug's shoulder, and then he looks like surprised, and he's like, "Oh," and I'm gonna go make breakfast.
Can't sober people up anymore.
You can't use your magic to sober me up anymore. You can't do your buzzkill thing.
I'm always a buzzkill, Caffriel.
What's a buzz?
Smite buzz.
The thing you're going to be feeling quite strongly here in a little bit.
Are you feeling anything in your chest?
Grandpa, help me, please.
What's going on, me?
Apparently, we have a goblin.
Caffriel's getting
Yes, that's Splug. I was the one who found him on my watch.
Caffriel is
I
getting
gave him
plugged down.
alcohol.
Oliphius is disapproving, and Cal is very sad. I need your help.
And he'll just give old Dahlia Prime another little kind of nuzzle and head over and we should probably send Splug on his way.
Well, I mean,
Not
he just
after he just drank half a bottle of what? What was that you gave him?
Oh, very, very
Well,
good alcohol.
He's a strong fellow.
Can you do this for me? Can you walk in a straight line and can you touch your finger to your nose? Like this?
Okay. And like you watch as he gets up with the blanket still kind of wrapped around, and like off the cart and this, and he like walks.
See, he's fine.
My God.
He just drank it like 2 seconds ago. You have to give it time. That's not how this works.
What
Here.
are you feeling right now?
Let's
Maybe
sit down and
goblin
have-
physiology is different.
Let's sit down and we'll have breakfast and then we'll see how you feel afterwards, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Caffriel like opens the bottle and like has a swig herself to see if it's like actually alcohol.
Yeah.
Accidentally grabbed my water bottle.
You smell it, and it smells like actually really good vodka.
Plugs it up. No, that's alcohol. Hands it back to Slug.
Caffriel, are you helping me make breakfast or is it just dinner you wanted to learn?
Oh, I can help make breakfast.
Alright, let's go make breakfast.
Breakfast.
Grandpa, please keep an eye on... You know.
She spells breakfast with a PH.
Oh my god.
Let's teleport him away.
Bottle back.
Oh no, you can have that. Wink.
I almost
it's empty. Do you
recommend
want
that
that
I teleport
bottle back,
him
or-
away.
Huh?
I said I almost recommend that I teleport him away.
What
Oh,
did
the-
Slug say?
The bottle's empty. Like
Oh.
this empty
Ooh,
bottle.
yes. What we do with that is slip it into Grandpa's bag of holding.
No and no.
You didn't
No.
hear me say that.
He's got an eye out for it now whenever there's an empty glass bottle.
You didn't see him drinking it.
What? I was got right there. I'm with him. He's
He
holding
just
it.
Me, he did ask him to keep an eye on.
When he's not looking, slip it into his bag of holding, and that's how we recycle. Recycling is good. You're saving the planet.
That's what we call that bag of
Specifically,
holding.
or any bag of holding?
His specifically.
The bag of holding.
Oh, it's that bag, and she points at Grandpa's bag of holding.
Okay.
It's like a pocket dimension where we put all of our trash.
That's not what it is, Splug. Let's get you some breakfast, and I know you're nervous, so let's send you on your way.
Breakfast.
Alright, we make breakfast. And...
Yeah, so you make breakfast. Pretty good. What do you guys make?
What do we make?
We make eggs and bacon a lot, so let's go for like
Classic.
a really nice like spiced porridge with like apple slices in it and shit. It's like an apple cinnamon porridge.
Woo!
Ooh.
Oh, Splug takes the bowl. Everyone's kind of eating. He just picks up the bowl and just...
We're adventurers. We live on the road. People probably do that.
He pockets the utensils.
Although, Splug, how are you still hungry? Oh, but the soup I gave you last night should have been enough to sustain 4 people or one whole giant for a whole 24 hours.
Yeah, I hate to break it to you, Mihi. He's also not drunk at all. I know drunk when I see it.
Yeah. Here's seconds.
Oh look, we encountered some weird creature on our travels overnight. Is anybody surprised? I'm not.
I love him.
Part of me wonders if he ate a bag of holding, but I cast Detect Magic and it didn't get anything, so...
Well, did you look inside him after you cast Detect Holding?
I don't think most people do that, Mihi.
Detect holding.
Go to a doctor for that.
Yeah.
How
What
are
would
you
happen
feeling?
if he swallowed a rope? Would it just keep going and going?
You watch as like he's looking at everybody and he's like kind of starts shrinking a little bit, like.
Oh god.
I'm not going to have you do it. I'm just curious.
Okay, Splug, so you can keep the blanket that I had you sleep with last night. Grandpa gave you some gold. Is there anything else that you need?
I want to give you gold.
I mean,
Are you sure?
have any clothes?
I could try and sew something together really quick, but we definitely do not have any clothes in your size.
I'm going to cast Create Food and Water to make sure that he has food for on the road for the next 24 hours and water for on the road, as much as he wants to carry.
He has like a
So.
like a bag, like what looks like be a
Yeah. So
sack. that he
I
drags.
open up his bag, and then I place my hand in front of it, and like a cornucopia, but from my hand is there's tons of like rolls and sausages and other different kinds of like dried meats and
a
breads.
minigun of food. Just...
Grandpa, how are
Yes?
you altering clothing?
I move my hand as I talk to you, and more food just spouts out from my hand. Oh,
He's like getting hit in the face by bread when you're talking.
yes, I can do that.
Here, here's my old clothing.
And I'll cast
Can you
mending.
alter it?
Altering not so much. I can fix the holes in it.
Well, I'm trying to get it to fit.
I'm not so good with a
Splug.
thread and needle exactly.
Well, I could do it by hand. It will just take time. I was hoping there was something magical that you could do.
Maybe we could
No.
probably just gird it.
Probably
what?
what?
I'm gonna use
What?
insight. Like, he's pitiful, almost too pitiful.
All right, roll insight.
23.
23.
You hear one winged angel.
I
No, he's a pitiful little thing.
How often does he do this act?
It doesn't seem like he's lying.
I'm going to spend some time to try and sew my old clothing into something usable by him.
Okay. That probably wouldn't take too long, especially if you use scissors and stuff to kind of cut it down.
And I can mending where needed as well.
Yeah, and I have needle and thread if we need it too, but mending will make it easier too.
Yeah.
It'll probably take maybe.
Completely seamless clothing, just because mending fixes everything with no seams.
Mhm.
Sure. He is now wearing what looks to be. Are you making it exactly how it was? Just smaller,
No,
or-
no. I'm gonna make him
You
like
give him a dress.
Mihi's poofy dress.
No. She's giving him basically just like she's taking the skirt and turning that into a pair of pants, so black pants, and then kind of taking that sort of, purpley corset that she had and turning that into kind of like a jacket for him.
That's fair. So he looks like he's dressed now. Finally.
He's got a big old Santa Claus bag of food and water.
Does that help? Sorry, it's not perfect. It is the best I could do. I have not
This
practiced
is more than
sewing
I
in a
expected.
while.
Cafriel's also gonna give him 50 gold.
Well, now you have 100 gold, so the next time you get to town, you can definitely afford a good inn, nice clothes, for a very long time. Just don't spend it all in one place. Make sure that you are taking care of yourself, okay?
Why shouldn't I?
Probably shouldn't steal either. That'd be good.
Do we have a
What?
map?
I think we have one.
It's the whole continent, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would I need to roll to know approximately where we're at right now?
Roll. Give me a sec.
Well, if
Be a nature
Brassington's on the
check.
map. Just a nature check. Worst comes to worst, I know where Brassington is at, so I can use that. Nature.
When we just
Come on.
came from a town for 2 days away, that's probably much closer than Brassington is.
Yeah.
Also, what would an art check be to copy something down?
Copy it.
Not precisely, not all the little details, just if you were to roughly draw the states and mark a city down.
Forgery?
Copy it over. I'd say
There are cartographer's tools in 5e.
do an intelligence.
Okay, because I'd like to take the map that we have, borrow a page from Oliphius, and draw a smaller rough version, and then mark where base mount is, and draw a line, draw an arrow to it, and be like, if you ever need to find us, come here, and then basically write our address or whatever it's called. Intelligence. Come on, intelligence. Work for me. Fuck me, 10.
It looks pretty good. Not perfect.
All right.
We weren't going for perfect. To you, it looks pretty good.
Nice. Nailed it.
It's pretty rough, but if you held it up next to an actual map, you could be like, yeah,
Maybe.
okay, about there.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, you've got your food, you've got some gold, some new clothing, a map. I think you're about good to go, Splug. Look at you. Oh, just a whole changed
You are
life.
practically an adventurer already. Would you like a different dagger? I have a couple. Okay, just making sure.
Cal pulls out. So you kind of see Cal look at the map, and his finger goes to Windsor's Landing, and then to Molthier, and kind of to Brassington. You can see him kind of think something over, And he shakes his head no, and he just goes, he grabs his last javelin, and he offers it to Splug without saying anything. Cal shrugs his shoulders and just puts the javelin back, and rolls the map up and starts getting ready to get on the road.
He's
Grandpa will
going to,
prepare the horse and donkey.
he's gonna squat down, like a doting mother sending her small green child to school on the first day, and she'll straighten his jacket, make sure his pack is all right, and be like, now just remember, pat, make sure everything's okay. Just remember, there are some good people out there. Don't give
But
up
most
hope
are
just
not
yet.
so great.
Don't give up hope just yet that there aren't nice people. Just be careful. And remember, if you ever want to try and get in touch again, go look for either base mount or leave word at one of the inns around here, and I'll check whenever I'm in the area, okay? You take care of yourself, alright? Okay. Good luck.
I love you.
Go make us
Thank
proud.
goodness I was there with her.
He turns in one direction and begins to walk.
Mihi stands beside Caffriel and puts her arm on Caffriel's back really lightly and just you ever just have a person who comes into your life and makes it so much better and then leaves so suddenly?
Then an eagle swoops down and takes off.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Monster!
Session ends with just Mihi and Caffriel screaming.
Just like I said, just scene ends. Oh,
right.
shit.
I think that is a great place to end for today's session.
I think so.
I miss him already.
Thank you, everybody. I just realized the light was just off. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I hope you all have yourselves a wonderful couple weeks. Don't forget, love each and every one of you.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.